All right, everyone. Hope you're all doing good today. Hope you're all doing well. It's time for another episode of Speedruns From the Crypt, your bi-weekly horror hotfix. I'm your host, Dices, and before we do get into the games, I just have a few announcements for you about upcoming GDQ news. For one, we do have SGDQ coming up, and with that, we have our SGDQ ambassadors all throughout the month of June. You can support Doctors Without Borders by joining each ambassador's community in the lead up to SGDQ. You can use ! SGDQ ambassadors to check out the full schedule of that. As well, we do have prize submissions open for SGDQ, and they are open. You can find more information at gamesdonequick.com for more info on that. As well, I guess other news since it's the eve of it, the Nintendo Switch 2 launch celebration is this Thursday from June 5th from 7 p.m. Eastern starting. You can check out a special broadcast over at twitch.tv/AntOnline at 1 p.m. Eastern for the pre-party. It is antonline.com. Alrighty. So today, it's been a while. I thought it'd be fun. We're going to Silent Hill. We're gonna play some Silent Hill games. We got a lot of the classics here for you. We have two of the, the original four, but we also do have the remake for you today. A lot has changed with that run, so it's back a little bit sooner than some of the others, but I think it'll be a fun night of Silent Hill if you like Silent Hill, which is quite fitting because I think they also just announced Silent Hill F stuff, so it should be exciting. Anyway, to start things off, we're going to be doing Silent Hill 3 any percent, no moves with Punchy, who will tell you more about that category. He made me say that category out loud, he'll tell you about it. Anyway, let's go over there.
Hello everyone, I'm Punchy, and yes, I'll be running Silent Hill 3 no move. I didn't make him say it, but I did pick the category name on purpose. That is my fault. No move stands for no monster out of bounds. There's a kind of trick in this game where if you get hit by a monster, it can push you through a wall, but you have to manually manipulate the frame rate of the game in order to get it low enough to push you through the wall. It's banned in this category because it looks awful and it doesn't capture very well. So we will be doing many glitches, but not that one. Let us begin. We'll be playing on action level normal. You will see why later. And 3, 2, 1, play ball. Okay, so the first thing that normal mode action difficulty allows you may be wondering, why not easy mode? Faster. On normal mode, we can do this. Whoa. And Heather has perished. You start the game in a nightmare, where the fastest way to exit the nightmare is to die, and on normal mode you can immediately throw yourself into a hole. On easy mode, you cannot fall off a ledge like that, so right away you save 30 seconds at the outset of the game. However, under normal circumstances, easy mode would still be faster because you then lose the 30 seconds you gained across the various boss fights. But that ledge behavior can be abused later in various interesting ways that results in normal mode actually being faster. And we've gained the pistol. We get it automatically in a cutscene. I'm doing a thing called a snap turn when I enter most rooms, which is when you press a strafe key and a movement key at a 90-degree angle to where Heather is facing on entering a room. This causes her to snap 90 degrees in that direction rather than having to do a wide turning arc that tank control games are famous for. That was a quick turn cancel. If in the middle of a quick turn you press your aim key, you cancel the quick turn midway, which lets you act faster, and you get a sort of circular movement arc out of it. Silent Hill 3 has weirdly complicated movement for a tank control game. I think, just move in straight lines. It's easy. No. There is a bunch of weird particulars to it. We've learned many ways to optimize the tank control. The key taken with tongs. We're going to grab 2 health drinks and 1 box of bullets. The health drink routing is actually very important. We're trying to keep a precise ratio of ammo to health in our inventory for a later event. Where's this guy at? He's over there. I'm just going to warp. Excellent. All right. The position of that enemy is random, so I was looking out for it. Right now we're going to solve a puzzle, and by that I mean we're going to pick up the books and... Oh, that's awkward. 8739, I believe that is. Nice. 8s and 3s look quite similar on that puzzle, so getting both in one is you gotta be really used to the particular font they use. Right, while we've got time to kill in the elevator, I'm going to fire 4 bullets out of my handgun precisely. And then I'm going to mash the map text. We don't really need to do this on the hotfix. I'm going to do it anyway. Every single time I don't have a map text appears, the in-game timer freezes for like 1 frame. So if you can mash the map text, you save a tiny bit of time. It's one of those funny little optimizations. Doesn't really cause the section to take less time per se. In-game time games are funny. Now we need to get the flashlight. The flashlight is very important. There's a bunch of items that you can't interact with unless your flashlight is on. The fact that that's true is one of the only reasons we can't almost immediately skip past them all. There are glitches that can get us out of here very quickly, but because we need the flashlight in order to finish the rest of the game, we have to come down here and get it. Where's the closers at? They're over here. Alright, decent positions. Whenever I open the menu like this to use an item, I'm using the mouse to click and accept and use items and what have you, because for whatever reason, clicking with the mouse to use an item is faster than using the keyboard. Like, it just accepts inputs quicker, and that adds up surprisingly quickly. Another strange little nuance. Silent Hill 3's menus are really weirdly prone to dropping inputs if you use the keyboard, but if you use the mouse, it's kind of too responsive. It's very easy to accidentally use, like, health items when you don't mean to. Nut. Should I get those health drinks in that room or not? Nah. Committed to not at this point. I said I was trying to maintain a ratio of health to ammo, and that's true, but too much health is not really a thing, so I could pick up extra if I wasn't feeling confident, but I am feeling confident. I've been running this game a lot lately. My hubris will be my downfall, I'm sure. Use the nut on the vice, get the stone within, and that will let us get to the boss. Alright, and now I'm going to start abusing quick saving. Quick saving tech came to Silent Hill 3 eventually. So if you quick save, and then quick to menu, and then hit continue. Quick saving in a room that you're already in resets the positions of enemies, which is very convenient for getting enemies out of the way of doors like that. Okay, and while I'm in this menu, I'm going to equip the ammunition. You don't need to equip ammunition to fire it, but if you do have ammunition equipped, you can press the supplies key to reload quicker than you would if it was not equipped. You can also equip a health item to use it instantly without opening the menu. This is a mechanic of Silent Hill 3 I don't think a lot of people even realize exists, because on console it's bound to, like, click the right stick or something, and no one clicks the right stick. It's a little thing we take advantage of because opening the menu to reload it takes a while to get the menu open. Anyway, first boss. Step 1. Fire 3 times. Wait. Fire 3 more times. Then reload. The gap there is important. If you fire too many times in a row, the boss will just leave and you'll be left there standing around, like, doing nothing for several seconds. You need to put a pause there and then reload and then finish off with the rest of the bullets. Now, I wasted 4 bullets in the elevator, and that means that when I reloaded the gun there in the middle of the fight, there is no longer a box of handgun bullets in my inventory. I said I'm trying to maintain the ratio of health and ammo. This is a part of that. The later event that I'm planning towards does not check for ammo that is already inside of guns. It checks ammo that is in the inventory. So the fact that I put the remaining handgun ammo in the gun rather than there being like a couple of bullets left over in the inventory is crucial. And now we're going to the subway. This part of the game has contributed to a lifelong fear of subway platforms. That's real. I wish that was a joke. I get slightly uncomfortable to this day about it. Took my flashlight off there because enemies react to the flashlight. And there was still an enemy just directly in my way. That's unlucky. Having the flashlight off there makes it less likely that they will bother you. Give me that. Nutcracker. Now flashlight go back on because we need it to pick up an item. We're going to pick up the shotgun here. The shotgun is the weapon that we will be using for most of the run because it is very strong, ammo is reasonably available, and honestly there's only like 3 guns in this game, so it's either that or the submachine gun, and the submachine gun has no ammo. Although we will be using it once anyway. Minmo, I should have been wearing my Minmo shirt. I do, in fact, have a shirt with the Minmo advertisement from the walls on it. Growing up strong and healthy with Minmo cat food. Is there one on this platform? No. Damn. Can't show it. Flashlight off once again. We gotta jump onto the train tracks. Do not do this in real life. Touch this door. That triggers a train to spawn. I get bopped on the way in. And now there is a train here. I have summoned the train. Okay, now we're in the train, and our goal is simply to get to the front car. Which unfortunately means crossing through very narrow hallways with enemies in it, and hoping I don't get hit. The big lad is too big, so we will do another quick save, quick load abuse. And that lets us get past. Enemies do not attack or otherwise aggro for the first couple seconds when you load a quick save, and that behavior is exploitable. Got me way, boss man. Alright, train's here. Now we head to the sewers. Right now, Heather is just trying to get home and is taking the world's most circuitous path to get there. What kind of subway platform connects directly to the sewers anyway? 2 more health drinks here. We are going to be looking to collect 7 total. Because that is the number we will need to survive the final boss. Among other things. The long hallway. Just as a fun random fact while we're here, this loading screen taking abnormally long is actually very normal. The reason that happens is that the game does not load a new room until existing audio tracks are done playing, so the slight ambient wailing it plays in that room will delay the next room showing up. Hasn't crashed, nothing weird's happening. It's just playing, it's just making noise. As one does. We filled up the wine bottle with oil. So we can get a winch to work. That way it drains the area below us. And now we get to start using glitch. So I mentioned that we're doing this on normal mode. Ledge behavior interacts interestingly on normal mode. This is actually possible and easy, mind you. This one doesn't require normal mode, but a lot of them do. When you are jumping off a ledge, if you quick save at the exact moment that you are going off the ledge, and then load that save, and then there's a bunch of other inputs involved with this. You have to, like, aim the gun while walking into it. That was too early. That just didn't give me it at all. That was definitely too early, but I'm gonna load anyway. No quick save. That looks good. Okay, so now if we hold aim and walk backwards into it, we get nothing, because this game is cruel and doesn't do the thing that I want it to do. Come on now. Come on. Quit being fussy. Oh my god, hurry up. I'm losing patience. There we go, I'm in the wall now. That took like 5 million tries. But anyway, I'm in the wall. This enables me to run straight towards the end of the sewers, which is over here. This doesn't look like it does much. Like, oh man, I'm out of bounds through this wall to get to this door real quick. That saves like a minute and a half. It's actually very substantial. The sewers area is long and winding and has many things in it, but the ending of it is right over there. If only you could get through a wall somehow. And conveniently, you can. That ledge tech works pretty much anywhere where you can jump off of a ledge or fall off of a ledge to your doom. However, in a lot of places, doing it incorrectly or doing it at all can just crash the game. So you gotta know where, and you gotta know how. And there will be more complicated versions of that later. That one, for how much time it saves, is blessedly relatively simple. Like, once it's done, just run forward and the end of the sewers is, like, over there. There will be more complicated ones at a later date. And by date, I mean roughly 20 minutes. Push a mattress into the hole so that we don't die when we jump down it. For instance, that's a ledge you can jump off of, you can do the quick save, quick load tech there, but it doesn't really bring you anywhere interesting in this case. Much of Silent Hill 3's rooms are like on a larger map, so you can walk between zones if you get out of bounds somehow, but there's also a lot of spaces that you can't pass through or the game crashes. And my flashlight off there once again to not draw aggro from the dogs while going through that room. worked out nicely. Now we've gained the tools to force open a broken elevator so I can descend to the lower levels of the apartment complex. Pry it open, and then use the rope so we can get down. And then Heather kicks a bathtub, and the entire world becomes evil. Do not kick bathtubs, folks. That enemy down there is a slurper. They are evil. I hate them tremendously. But before that, we gotta do another glitch. Similar sort of principle, but this one is done with Heather's ledge teetering animation like that. This ledge teetering animation is exclusively available on normal mode, so this trick only works on normal. This is the reason that normal mode is picked. You cannot do this on easy mode. Or the game simply does not allow you to kind of attempt to throw yourself to your doom on easy mode. Come on now. The timing for this is unfortunately a little tight. There we go, I'm in the wall. And now I'm going to go in this kind of a direction. Now, when we're in the out-of-bounds space, the camera is both your enemy and your friend. The camera wants to be in bounds. It doesn't like being in the void. And in this case, the camera is handy, as it will get me directly to this much later part of the otherworld apartment complex that I want to be in. So the camera there is a beacon that will guide me to my destination. If you had to hit that like blind, like running through the void without being able to see what you were doing, it'd be a lot harder. But again, helpfully, the camera wants to be in bounds. It will find the inbound space for you. Also of note is that when you're in the out-of-bounds space, notice how I ran through the door and then quick-turned to open it properly? You have to be careful with the timing of that. This is another quick save, quick load abuse to get these guys out of the way. You have to be careful with the timing of that because if you quick turn too early while you're still in the out-of-bounds space, the game will crash. For whatever reason, it is perfectly content for you to walk in the out-of-bounds space and do all kinds of stuff there, but if you quick turn, it tries to pull the audio for the surface you're currently standing on, can't find anything because you're standing on nothing, goes, and explodes. You might be thinking, why don't regular footstep sounds cause that, though? I didn't make the game. But for some reason, it just hates it when you quick turn specifically. And now we're coming up on the second boss. This is a boss fight where they can only be attacked from the back. We're going to use our shotgun to do as much damage as possible. This is, to be frank, massively random. I was a bit far back there. The shotgun spread is random. Didn't get owned on Wake Up, at least. Yeah. Ideally, he would already be dead. But that is not the universe I live in. He is also still not dead. There we go. 6-shot, not necessarily ideal, but it'll be fine. Probably. Ideally, he should die in 4, but because the shotgun spread is massively random, you don't always get that. We don't always get what we want around here. That was a pretty stock, if not very lucky, attempt at that boss fight, but I didn't get hit, so it's alright. I was doing a thing during that fight called a block cancel. This game has a mechanic where Heather can block with the weapon she's holding. She puts her arms out in front and it reduces damage if she gets hit while you're blocking. However, if you... Quick save, quick load abuse. However, if you block and then immediately fire, it bypasses the animation of Heather needing to, like, ready the gun to fire it. So she can just immediately fire from a standing position without having to take time to aim. However, you need to make sure you're pointed at the thing you want to hit if you're going to do that, because she won't aim the gun properly. But it is a useful tech for firing the shotgun quickly. I'm doing quick save and quick loads here because it restores Heather's stamina to full every time you quick save, quick load, so she runs faster. In Silent Hill 2, there is a similar glitch, but just the act of quick saving restores stamina in Silent Hill 2. In Silent Hill 3, you need to make the save and load it. The final boss does require a certain amount of ammo to complete it, so taking extra shots to kill bosses is disadvantageous, but there is like enough leeway in the route that things like that can happen without it being a big deal. It's not extremely tight. Really, it hinges more on the Alessa boss fight than it does on that guy. Right, what is this code again? Oh, it doesn't matter. My hands remember. My brain doesn't remember, but my hands do. Doesn't matter. What's the time? It's 1256. My favorite time of day. The number for that is random. It is not fixed. However, you can tell by looking very closely at the clock face itself, rather than interacting with it directly, but then you have to read an analog clock and read it quickly. And this is a hotfix. The actual thing people do in runs there is they will zoom the camera in and then pause the game to look at it, because in-game time game, funny. Rude. I didn't actually use the item. There we go. Equipping the shotgun while I'm in the menu, good. Not using the puzzle item, bad. Submachine gun ammo. We will be using the submachine gun, but only for one boss, because there's really only ammo for one boss. Very restrictive. Use a camera, get a code, 5319. That code is random, and I will need to remember it for exactly the next, 30 seconds. So I'm going to simply concentrate on the number, picture it within my mind. I'm turning it around. It is wonderful. And now it gets used. Excuse me. Take a phone call, skip a cutscene, leave. Taking that phone call opens the way to the next part of the game, which is on the floor below us. A door that wasn't there before now appears. And that'll get us to the Nightmare Hospital. You might be looking at this and thinking, this isn't the Nightmare Hospital? And no, it isn't. That comes later. You can do a quick save, quick load abuse here to get rid of the shutters from the instant you quick save and quick load, but it actually takes more real time than not doing that, and this is a hotfix, so I'm not doing it. But if you were trying to optimize this game for the timing method that's actually used, you would. Games with diversions from real time. Turn too early. That shutter has to come down before this one will open. So we get within range to trigger it, and then immediately quick turn. We activate this. That triggers a cutscene where a couple characters from Silent Hill 1 talk about the events of the previous game, although they will do so in silence in the PC port. Those voice lines were removed from the PC version of the game because they are reused as is from Silent Hill 1, and it turns out Konami didn't actually have the rights to do that. Funny. They got an angry legal threat from one of Silent Hill 1's voice actors. And thus they simply took it out of future releases. There's normally a puzzle here on the normal mode and above riddle difficulty, but because I picked easy riddle difficulty, there ain't nothing there. We can just walk in and pick up a key. Since this is the distinctive feature of Silent Hill, is that you can choose different action and puzzle difficulties. Right, now this is a slight detour. This is the happy birthday caller. Being congratulated on your birthday opens up a room slightly before the boss of this area. Oof! That room contains either an abundance of health or an abundance of ammo. We would like the abundance of ammo, so I can shoot the gun. However, it checks what you have in your inventory when deciding what to give you. This is why you have to tightly control your ammo count. Because if you have too much... Relatedly, this is why we're reloading the submachine gun during this menu, because it gets that submachine gun ammo out of the inventory and into a gun where it isn't considered for the calculation. Oof! That's why these enemies suck. They hit you in the shins, and they knock you down, and then you lose the time, and you are sad about it. So if I have done this correctly, and I hope I have, I should have ammo here. Yep. Get 2 shotgun shells, 2 boxes of shotgun shells, and the extra submachine gun bullets. The extra submachine gun bullets is the key there, but also it's nice to have extra ammo. So if you have too much ammo there, instead of getting more ammo, you get health, and that is of no use to us. We desire bullet to shoot the gun. So now we can, once that's done, we can pick up as much as we like freely. Anyway, here's Leonard. Knock him down with a shotgun, hope he doesn't go instantly invincible. He did not. Love that for me. Shoot him 3 times while he's down. Equip the submachine gun. And just unload into him while he's down. That's why we wanted that extra submachine gun bullets, because once he's knocked down, the submachine gun makes extremely quick work. And that was textbook. No complaints from me. Leonard has the random, if not super likely, chance of just going instantly invincible if knocked down. If that happens, it is genuinely faster to just quit and reload the fight than it is to try and figure out a way forward. But fortunately, that didn't happen. Finally, some good luck. Give me my stamina back. I need it. So I can run faster. We can't kill God with health. Yeah, I can't kill my enemies with health items. I need pain items. This is perhaps the most orange video game ever made. I don't know why that was the observation that jumped into my brain. On a grand scale of all video games, I'd say it's pretty orange. And we backtracked back to the motel there, skipped a cutscene, and now we are going to the amusement park. We're going to have some fun at the amusement park. The amusement park is where the more complicated skips are, and I am actually faced with the choice. There are two variants of the same out of bounds. One of them is easy, but has a random chance of crashing the game, and the other one is complicated, and doesn't have a random chance of crashing the game, but is complicated. I'm gonna do the complicated version because I am sick of risking the game crashing. If the game crashed in the middle of this, that would be quite bad. And also, I think I've more or less attained baseline confidence with the complicated version. Right, here we are again, the amusement park from the beginning of the game, but now we would like to not die. Now if we die, it counts. There is a key here that needs to drop off this shelf. That's much better than what I used to do. I watched Death Tropes run and found a better approach for that. The timing for that key dropping off the wall is random. It checks for a certain distance away once you enter the location where it is, and the exact distance it asks is random. So it may drop from when you're quite close, almost as soon as you walk away, or it might drop a little further out. But since it's based on the absolute distance away from a zone, you kind of want to take the straightest line possible, turn at 90-degree angles, whatever. This is nerd stuff. People had to get inside the code of Sound 3 to understand what was going on with that key. Because otherwise people just did weird dances in the room trying to summon the key to drop off the wall. Alright, time for the complicated ones. I'm actually going to make a hard save before this in case I botch it. Because that would be embarrassing. To end up having to kill them and run over it. So once again, we're going to do the quick save, quick load technique. Hopefully to warp across this wall. First try, go me. And now I need to turn at kind of the right angle. I don't think that's aggressive enough. I need to pay kind of close attention to exactly where I'm going in the void. The camera will try to latch onto this, that's good, but then you want to sort of turn away from it so that it doesn't stay latched onto it. And then the camera should, yes, love that for me, latch onto this area. And this is all to spec, although I need to be careful about not hitting a ledge out of bounds, otherwise the game will crash. When we get to here, as soon as you hear footstep noises, quick save and quick load. That restores running speed to a more favorable value, but now I need the right line towards the end bit of the game. And this is the bit I don't have a lot of confidence with. I mean, I have a quick save, so if I beef the line, I can just kind of try it again. But I'm hoping the camera will do me a solid here. Yes! You are my friend. You are my friend, camera. Yes, get in there. And we're at the end of the amusement park. Whew. That's the complicated version. Obviously, that's scary because if your line is a little off there at the end, you just run past where you want to be, and you don't know where you are. You're in the void. Where am I? What's going on? I don't know what's going on. You think I know what's going on? Be nice if I did, but I don't. Anyway, time for horses. Okay, so the horses follow a cycle. But also we need to shoot all of them with a shotgun. The game checks every X number of seconds for if all of the horses are dead. Holding text on these horses keeps the timer paused while we shoot them. thus giving us a more favorable cycle. Again, this is a whole thing that's like kind of tricky to explain with words. It's better with a diagram. But the key thing to know is that instead of immediately hitting this last one, the game just lagged. Unfortunately, if the game randomly hitches like that, that has very bad implications for the cycle. So, oh, it was instant, actually. It lagged exactly the right amount. You cannot rely on that. That's the game being bad. However, it worked out extremely in my favor. The cycle completed instantly. Normally, it takes like at least a little bit. It lagged exactly the right amount. Anyway, get me out of the save room, and we'll spawn the Alessa fight. The Alessa fight is kind of complicated. We need to counter-hit her. We need to wait for her to go for an attack and then shoot her with the gun. If you're too hasty... Nice two-shot there. She tried to run away. She didn't get away with it. If you shoot too early, she will immediately block your bullets, and that is very annoying. I almost just traded. Nice two-shot. This individual Alessas can take 2 to 3 hits if your lineup is sufficiently good. And the 2-shot is ideal. 1 3-shot is fine. I have a really hard time getting the 3-shot on that for some reason. I don't know. And this last one. Where are you? Hello? Ah, the bug. That sucks. That ammo is wasted. Okay, but that was... whatever. I had a shot wasted there because, this Alessa fight has a funny bug where if you trade blows with Alessa, like, you shoot her at the same time she's hitting you, she just doesn't take any damage. Because, cool game. I don't know. I don't want to talk about it. That went okay. Oh, the horse is just like a bus stop. Yes. The classic way of conceptualizing it, but yeah. It's the same thing. I'm more or less satisfied with how that went. Alessa can go very wrong if the Alessa phases start to run away from you, or your shots just don't land right because the game is rude. A lot of things can happen there. And for the most part, they didn't. A lot of things didn't happen, and that's a good thing. Normally you need to wait a certain amount of time before this painting can be moved. You have to wait for like an invisible ghost child to walk through it, and then Heather gets, where'd the child go? But if you quick save and quick load when you're in the room, you can just immediately move them. Saves a little time. Oh god, he has zoomies. Straight in the face. That was a quick save, quick load abuse there for safety, because to reset the enemy aggro. You might notice the ledges in this area are narrow. If you graze a corner wrong, you might start to teeter by accident, and if you get hit while you're teetering, ow, you just die. I'm on low health. The red cross in the corner is glowing. I have taken too much damage this run, but that is okay. I picked up an ampule, which is a full heal item, in the amusement park room with the key. I will use that to heal to full health before the final boss, so it doesn't really matter how much I got hit beforehand. Which is very convenient for me. It means I don't have to think very hard about the health routing. I'm definitely quick save abusing that. I don't want to get hit again. I'm like already dead as is. Get a key. This is the final area of the game. We are trying to collect 5 tarot cards so we can open the door to the final boss room. This is another place where we're going to do a quick save, quick load to immediately get an event to trigger that enables us to open this door. In categories that do not permit the usage of quick save, quick load, because there are categories that don't permit the use of quick save, quick load, you have to gamble on whether or not that door will open properly. You can leave the room and re-enter it and hope that that immediately triggers the event, but it's random. It's like a 1 in 3. There's just 3 different routines it calls when you enter the room for a second time, and one of them is the door is open, and the other 2 are suffer. I much prefer the categories that use the quick save, quick load if it's all the same to you. I don't like gambling at the end of the run on a 1 in 3. And there's 2 of them, by the way. The painting is the same, so it's the 1 in 9 at the end of the run. Where if you gamble unsuccessfully, you are in the hole many, many seconds. And because this is a classic survival horror game that people have been running for many, many, many years, the margins at the top level of play are quite tight. Losing like 5 seconds is the difference between glory and ruin. No funny hitbox for card. Classics of survival horror speedrunning, trying to pick up an item and struggling to do so. Survival horror runs are really mundane like that, in a way. It's all about moving to doors correctly and picking up items as fast as possible, etc., etc. Don't be butterfingers, pick up the card. Just get it. Oh, brother, this guy stinks. Get out of the way. This dude has been persistently in the way every time I'm passing through this room. Twice. A dude so nice, he appeared twice. Once again, that loading screen takes a while because of the sound effect that plays when you walk through it. But alright, we are at the end of the run. I'm going to use my amp pill, restore myself to full health, equip that. Equip gun, reload. And now I have health drinks equipped instead of ammunition. This is another puzzle where, again, I could not tell you what the answer to it is, but my hands understand it, so that's all that matters. So I'm now in top condition for the boss fight. This is where I have to explain Silent Hill 3's health system before the final boss. In Silent Hill games, at least 2 and 3, you cannot be killed if your health is above 0. You can be taken to 0, but if your health is above 0, you won't die from any hit. We are going to exploit that with a low-value healing item like a health drink. And we are also going to have the first shotgun blast completely whiff because this game is cool. I'm going to reload that so the game isn't annoying. I don't want to deal with that. Work properly. Let's try again and see if the game can function correctly the 3rd time. No, it can't. You're supposed to just walk forward and shoot the gun and then hit, but because Silent Hill 3 is a very good video game, sometimes it just doesn't... There we go, thank you. I'm not dealing with a whiff shot fight, it's annoying. Yeah, so we take high damage from the boss. Once the health bar starts blinking rapidly in the bottom right, the health cross, which will occur on this hit, use 1 health drink, which gets us to above just the bare minimum of health, which isn't really enough to not go down to 0 every time this hits me, but it doesn't kill me because I am slightly above 0 health. Yeah, the final boss, it's defective. I don't know what to tell you, man. The game is made incorrectly. It's not a rare occurrence, it don't work good. It's not supposed to happen, it's not really random, it's not made right. Anyway, we just loop this until we win the fight, basically. We stay above 0 health just barely for long enough to kill the boss with point-blank shotgun shells. And that's time. Aside from having my first 4 shots become incorporeal, that was a pretty normal fight. Unfortunately, yes, that does sometimes mean you get to the very end of the run, your shots whiff clean through, and you lose time. Cool video game. Right. Radio. And what was the time on the results screen? 33:52. In-game time has a somewhat loose relationship with load remove time, so I'm not going to lie, I don't know how... Actually, I know that 54 Lesser boss fight is extremely good. So I guess I'm pretty happy with that. That was Silent Hill 3. Got through it pretty much without a hitch, I'd say, aside from the final boss. If you enjoyed this... I was going to do my shoutouts. There you are. I was wondering if you were still here or not.
Nah, I've been here.
Thought you were checking up on stuff. Yeah, if you enjoyed this run, I've been Punchy. You can find me at twitch.tv/Punchy. It's linked at the top of the chat. It's pinned. I'd also like to shout out Death Tropes. They're in the chat right now, and they'll be up next, actually. Death Tropes is the current world record holder of this category. They're very, very good at this, so if you also want to see some high-level Silent Hill 3 gameplay, I suggest you check them out. I mostly just copied them at this point. Play number 69. Sorry.
Alright.
Just...
That is, yeah, there you go. Alright, everyone. I hope you all enjoyed that run of Silent Hill 3. We are going to have more Silent Hill in a moment. Once again, if you have not checked out Punchy, it's Speedruns From the Crypt regular. You can find his link in the chat. A lot of fun, horror, RPG, and rhythm game stuff. So definitely go ahead and check him out. You can find him on all the social medias there. Before we get to our next run, I do have a couple things to read for you. One, the Black in a Flash's Summer Speedrunning Celebration, Juneteenth, will be live on GDQ channel from June 19th to the 22nd. Type !Juneteenth in chat for the full schedule, and you can visit gdq.gg/BAF to learn how you can join the Black in a Flash community. As well, speaking of schedules, if you're ever curious what's coming up on Hotfix, you can check out this week's schedule and explore our full season lineup at gdq.gg. All right, everyone, welcome back from the break. Hopefully you all enjoyed that run of Silent Hill 3. It is nice to see how a game can adapt, and I think that game has so many categories at this point. It's always nice to see new ones, even though they might have some strange names. That being said, we're going to go away from a bit of a strange name category, and we're going to be going to a bit more traditional, I suppose. This is the OG Silent Hill, a classic. It's probably one of my favorite runs of all time, and it's always a good time to see it. It's been a while, so how about we see it once again? Anyway, up next is going to be Silent Hill 1, All Bosses with Death Tropes. Take it away.
Thank you. Hey guys, I'm Death Tropes, and I'm going to be running Silent Hill, All Bosses. And we're going to start the timer in 3, 2, 1, and go. All right, so the way this game begins, if you haven't seen it before, is Harry Mason wakes up. He's been in a car accident. Oddly enough, you actually don't know that unless you've watched the opening scene of like when you turn the game on. You don't really get a cutscene really when you hit New Game and you start the game. You have to watch the cutscene that starts before you get to the main menu. Anyways, so I was thinking about this earlier, how a lot of games from this era, survival horror games, especially ones that are from this time, like Resident Evil and those like that, you always play as somebody who is like experienced with like special forces and weapons and stuff like that. Whereas in this game, you play as Harry Mason, who is an everyman. He's just a normal guy who's trying to find his daughter. Now, his daughter, is basically split between another person and has special powers, but, those are just details. So anyways, right there, when you come to that little spot on the side of the sidewalk there, it actually will boost Harry up a little bit. It's pretty cool. You save like a couple seconds. Just kind of there's little things like that all around the run where if like you do this one tiny thing, you'll save like a few seconds. But yeah, so Harry just saw his daughter. He's gonna just kind of chase her through this creepy looking alleyway. Mess with these crazy camera angles from 1999. Also, there's a lot of people who don't really like the Silent Hill movie. What I do appreciate it is at the beginning of that movie, when Rose is looking for her daughter Sharon, who, they switch the places between Cheryl and Harry, obviously. But it actually has those same camera angles in that part of the movie as in the game.
What's going on here?
All right. Right now, we're gonna meet some Bray children. Oh, they grabbed us right away. It's actually really good RNG. And an efficient death. Well, that's the run. Thank you very much for watching. I appreciate it. Just kidding. That's the post-happen. Kind of like at the beginning of Silent Hill 3 when Punchy was running and he fell down the pit at the very beginning. It's like that. It's a nightmare, essentially. All right, so we wake up here in the cafe. Nothing weird about it. Also, I want to point out, you might hear the voices sped up a lot when they're talking. That's actually because I play in fastest speed on the PlayStation 2, where it doesn't actually affect your in-game time at all, but it does affect your loading. It makes things a little bit easier, and it's kind of just how I'm used to playing the game. And I actually, if I play the game in normal speed, it sounds weird to me. I don't like it. It's like, why isn't it fast anymore? What's going on here? I'm gonna grab some various items we need. Do a fun little maneuver over here, grab this knife, and we're gonna leave. Well, not without the radio.
What's that? Huh, radio. What's going on with that radio?
A little bit of RNG on this first enemy you encounter. This is the air screamer. You're going to see a lot of these. And this can either be a 3-shot, 4-shot, 5-shot, or a 6-shot. I believe it was a 4-shot.
This is my dream.
I wasn't counting. We're going to grab this radio. We're gonna get out of here. And we wake up and Harry essentially is like, I got to go find my daughter. No idea where she is. There's a little bit of a running around part of this run. It's probably I would say it's the slowest part of the run. You're essentially running around Silent Hill trying to get various keys to open up one single door that we'll see here in just a few minutes. But what I do like is all of these keys are actually named after characters in The Wizard of Oz. You have the Woodsman key. I think it's called it might be the Tin Man key, and then there's the Lion's key. But they all open up a door. Here in just a bit, we just got our first one. Let's keep going now. Yeah, well, I have a few minutes. I was actually researching like little things about Silent Hill that I wasn't aware of. Oddly enough, I learned that Michael G., the person that voices Harry Mason in this game, also voices Dracula in Symphony of the Night. Couldn't believe it. One of my favorite games. Had no idea.
I think he also did announcements on Ridge Racer.
I did not know that. I think he...
Yeah, it was some racing game. I don't remember exactly what it was, but
okay.
I think it was Ridge Racer.
Okay. I think he also played a character in Time Splitters or something like that. He did something that was real random as well. But yeah, it's just cool to find out that I've been listening to this guy's voice for years, and he does other voice acting in a game that I really enjoy and that I grew up with. Just kind of cool.
Funny thing about that is, like, I don't think it became like common knowledge until like the last few years. Like, I don't think it was like as recent, but yeah, he like publicly said, "Oh yeah, no, I did all these voices back in the day."
That's crazy.
Like 2019 or something.
That's crazy.
Yeah, a lot of the old school PS1 voice actors started kind of unearthing themselves and being found. A lot of them may have used like pseudonyms, and a lot of them just weren't really in the spotlight.
Sure.
But a lot of them have been kind of coming out.
That's awesome. And the more you know. Let's grab our second key. We're gonna hopefully not get hit by that air screamer, because sometimes that air screamer will come in, hit you, and then Harry will stand there for a second, just kind of stare up at the sky like, what happened here? And then he keeps running. Yeah, we're getting our last key. Now, actually, no, I lied to you. We're actually running through down this whole street just to look at a piece of paper. It's unfortunate, but you literally have to look at this piece of paper that says, go to the doghouse in order to progress through the game. Yeah, again, probably the slowest part of the run, but once you're through this part, things really, really ramp up. I believe... Oh, actually, no, sorry. The community calls this Rainbow Road. Why? No idea. It doesn't look like Mario Kart to me, but that's what it's called. Here's the papers. Now, I'm sure everybody here has seen the meme of Harry Mason standing in front of the doghouse. And it says, there's a doghouse here. There doesn't seem to be a dog around. And then behind Harry Mason is a dog jumping up to eat him. Yeah, that's this doghouse right here. Grab this key, and we're done. All right, now we're gonna use all those keys we just gathered to open up this little tiny door. Oh, and I bong. Unfortunate. Essentially, it's the game saying, hey, you're not in Kansas anymore kind of thing, which I appreciated. There's a lot of little things like that because this game was made by Team Silent, as most of you know. But there's a lot of things in here that reference a lot of American, like, pop culture type stuff. For instance, the school we're actually going to is modeled after the school in Kindergarten Cop, which I thought was very interesting and a very interesting choice of a location, rather, to use. Yeah, if you look, it's the exact same entrance. And then I think there's a poster at some point of Texas Chainsaw Massacre, but there's this little thing sprinkled around Silent Hill that basically show, like, oh no, this is definitely in America. It's very interesting. And then with the news that we got on Silent Hill F, especially with that trailer coming out today, it is very evident that they're going back to their roots, so to speak. All right, we're basically approaching the school now, and it's essentially the first dungeon. Whereas if you think about it, the Silent Hill town itself is your open world, because you can go off and kind of explore it here and there. Or essentially in our first dungeon, which is Midwich Elementary. All right. A lot of these rooms, if you actually use the analog stick, you'll actually go through them a little bit faster without him slowing down much. Just things you got to kind of get used to. Nice little movements here so we can get around these gray children. So, interesting about the gray children in this game is in the Japanese version, they're actually a totally different character model. They're mumblers in the Japanese version, and maybe other versions. I'm not really sure, to be honest. But yeah, they're totally different in this version of the game. Get our first medallion. We need 2 of these to clear out the school. Well, the first part of the school, rather.
I think it might be the European version you're also thinking about.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, the idea behind it was the gray children, represent children. Mm-hmm. And they didn't want like a horror game where you're shooting children because rules were different on the game ratings.
Exactly.
So I think instead what they do is they replace them with like the mole men you find in the sewers, remember, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't remember the exact name of the enemy, but like it's those guys. Like,
they're the mumblers,
like,
I believe.
Drill hand mole dudes.
Yeah. Yeah, they're
I think some versions also get like the ghosts. I could be wrong.
I think you're right, actually, because we have the little ghosts in this one. I think they're called stalkers. They have a really interesting name, but yeah, they're definitely in this one. I think they are in that one too.
Yeah.
All right. Infamous piano puzzle. Didn't get any dings. Well, no good luck. Right, we got our second medallion, and we're gonna just try to get around these gray children. Also, one thing I want to point out is I'm sure you guys have noticed that running around in the dark a lot is because the gray children have an attack where they just grab Harry. And not only do they hurt him, but they take a bunch of time as well. They'll just kind of stand there and hold Harry for a minute and give him a hug. Yeah, we're turning our light off a lot so we can avoid that happening. Just helps us remain fast, especially because Harry has a momentum mechanic where he doesn't run full speed right away. He has to kind of build it up after a second. And then there'll be times where I'm running at full speed and then Harry will smack himself into a wall, and that's called bonking, which you did see me do a few minutes ago. And we are essentially done with School Part 1. Now we're still going to be in the school, but it's going to look a little bit different this next time we're in it. So essentially we are in the Otherworld school now. No, looks a little bit grimier, a little bit rustier. Oh. Now this room is interesting. So you run through this whole hallway with your light off, There is a 1% chance that a gray child will grab you if you're running in a straight line. He did not, thankfully. But yeah, there's a small chance that he'll just grab you and there's nothing you can do about it. Alright, now we're getting the only other weapon we're going to use this entire run, which is the shotgun. Next thing we gotta do now is you have to get a ball. But first we're gonna get a lovely phone call from our lost daughter. But unfortunately, because we're in a speedrun, we're not gonna listen to this. He's gonna ignore the call. There's our ball, now we gotta go to the roof. So you have to use the said ball to get a key. You have to look at this hole first for some reason. You have to see if there's visibly a key there, and then you can use it, the ball here. Plug up this drain. And then here's one of the only cutscenes in the game that you cannot skip, which is odd. So if you're so inclined, if you're on a run, you can get a drink of water, stretch for 2 seconds, or reflect on if you've been grabbed in school too many times and have to reset. Kind of how it goes usually. And a lot of the camera angles are pretty tricky also. When you're first starting to learn this run, it's very easy to get lost. I think it was probably my hardest Silent Hill run to learn, just because everything looks very much the same. So it's a lot of just trial and error, trying to remember which room you need to go into all the time. But hey, that's speedrunning for you. A few more gray shells we have to avoid without getting grabbed. Another hall we have to run in the dark for. Infamous locker room where you find a cat in the normal school. But here you get absolutely nothing, and then there's a jump scare right there. And we're almost done with this area. That was kind of dangerous. I left my light on in that room. Thankfully I didn't get grabbed, but usually if your light's on when you come out of that, you'll get grabbed immediately. Again, keeping your light off is very important in certain areas. There is an area later on in the run too where it's essentially you're in total darkness. There's very minimal differences between this run and the any percent besides the 2 skips that you do. In this one, you actually have to grab some extra ammo, but thankfully the only extra ammo that you need is here in the school, so you don't have to venture too off for it. Because if you don't grab this, you're going to run out of ammo when you get to one of the last boss fights, and then your run's over. That's unfortunate. Alright, this valve puzzle. It's so difficult to like pinpoint exactly where you need to go for these valves, but it looks like we got it. Nicely done. Then here comes our first boss fight, which is kind of interesting. So in Silent Hill 3, you have split worm, whereas in this game, you have split head. And you'll see that here in just a second. They definitely mimicked several things from Silent Hill 1 into Silent Hill 3. go. 1, 2, 3, 4. We're gonna aim. There we go. And we kind of just wait for him for a second because you actually read a page or a book or something like that that says you wait for the enemy to open its mouth. And that's it. That's the first boss fight. Easy peasy. Just don't run too far into him or else you're gonna get smacked. Besides that, pretty simple fight to start the game off with. And we're done with the school. He's gonna see this girl that kind of looks like his daughter. Who is it? Maybe we'll never know. And we are outside again, and it is daytime. Also, another fun fact, I forgot how do you say his last name, so pardon me, but is it Toyama? But the original director for Silent Hill actually left Team Silent after this game was made and actually went back and made the Siren series, which is a really very good horror franchise as well. If you didn't know, how you do. A little bit of crazy RNG coming up. There's more of those air screamers, which they're going to be a consistent problem in this run, I promise. But there's one that can basically charge you and just snipe you without you even knowing. Thankfully, he didn't do that, but he'll usually do it right around there, and then you have to, again, Harry will just kind of stand there for a minute, look dumb and look up in the air for a second. We're not letting that happen, though. Yeah, the first half of this game, besides the dungeon areas, is essentially Harry Mason just walking through the snow, you know, in June. I believe it's in June.
Yeah, one of the cool things about Silent Hill is, I guess you get to see a little bit throughout the series, mainly 1 and 3, but the big appeal of Silent Hill is it's actually like a resort town. It's like a vacation town.
Exactly.
Were you ringing that bell?
I get a couple key items here. One of them actually is a key for the bridge. Did not bonk that door. I thought I was going to. But yeah, Harry just met Queen of Gyromancy, is what I like to say. But that is Dahlia, who seems like friendly, but you know, if you haven't played this game, I won't spoil too much. But there may be more than than appears. Then again, it is a creepy old lady in a church in a horror game, so it's also slightly obvious. And the movement for the bridge controlling was a little bit tricky. Very infamous room. I may not have hit it there. I did. Nice. I was at the very cusp of that frame though, for sure. But pretty good movement there. We're going to our second major area, which is the hospital, which is personally my favorite part of the run. A lot of fun movement. The imagery is really cool. The enemies are cool. It's neat. And there's something called nurse skip there that is a fun thing to do if you can do it correctly. Silent Hill also has to be one of those runs where if I'm watching somebody play it, the sound of Harry's footsteps are so relaxing that it's very comfy, even though it is a terrifying horror game. Also, it's probably my favorite part because Kaufman, you meet Kaufman here. He is gonna try to shoot Harry Mason, and I'm just gonna let you guys see what happens there.
Hold it.
He went to stormtrooper school.
Stop. Don't
It's
shoot.
insane. He's 3 feet away from the guy
Wait, I'm not here to
and
fight.
just flat out misses. But yeah, that's it. He is the director for the hospital. I'm gonna grab a couple various keys now. Now in the any percent run, we actually go into the next room and grab the Eagleophodus, but in this room we do not do that. We skip that completely. Because we use that to skip a boss fight later on in the game, but we don't do that in this run because it's all bosses. We just kind of have to deal without it later. A lot of funky movement in this elevator too. Also, 2nd floor, 3rd floor. Can't go in this door. And then voila, right here, 4th floor appears. And I believe that's because, correct me if I'm wrong, somebody, but I believe they don't have 4th floors in hospitals in Japan. Am I correct in saying that? I believe that is why they did that.
Yeah, like it's not even just hospitals, hotels, anything.
It's everything? Okay, okay.
Yeah, no,
Gotcha.
4 is like, it sounds like death.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a bad omen. It's
Right.
like having, like, a lot of hotels don't have 13th floors.
Mm-hmm. Yep, true.
Certain numbers are just unlucky. So if you see it, it's a bad omen.
Yeah.
In this case, yeah, 4.
Exactly. Thank you. Yeah, in the hospital, just grabbing various items. A lot of other Silent Hill games like you just saw in 3. A lot of the areas are just grabbing various keys and items and just making your way through the enemies. Ooh, nice. That nurse can just block you sometimes. Sometimes she'll just grab you and then she'll trap you there. Not fun. But she didn't do that. All right, Harry's gonna do a little swag slide here. Probably the most fun thing to do in this game, just that room. Learn the room just to do that room. It's a good time. It's very easy. Grabbing our lighter now, which we'll need for the future multiple times. There we go. Little skip we can do here. So the game wants you to run in all the way up to this enemy and use this blood pack, but you can just walk 1 foot into the room and Harry will just use it. And there's little things like that spread out through the run that makes it really cool. Just little skips, little manipulations. It's our door puzzle here with all these tiles we've been accumulating in this area. Here comes nurse skip. Let's see if it goes well. Which it should. Little maneuver there. We're gonna walk over here, and that's it. If you don't do that, she's basically in the way. And then you have to hope you can kind of push by her, but with that little manipulation, she's just out of the way. You're free to go. That's why I say again, the hospital has a lot of really cool movement. And once you master it, it's very, very, very satisfying to pull off. We're almost done with the hospital. The hospital is one of the shortest areas, I think, but it's a lot of fun. And again, this is all just to find his lost daughter. It's still not happened, obviously. So this man, this everyman, is going through absolute hell, literally, to find his daughter. And the only other dad that did that, as well as Harry Mason, is Ethan Winters from Resident Evil 7 and or Village. Village more so because he's trying to find his daughter. And not a lot of other dads I can think of that do the same things as those two. Yes, now we're in the basement of the hospital. All just to get a little bit of a key. The backstory to this area is they were essentially keeping this girl, Alessa, down in this basement of the hospital, and it was very, very hush-hush. Yeah, Silent Hill's really cool. It's just, and if you're not aware, it's all about real-world occultism, creepy monsters, you know, supernatural powers, that kind of stuff. It's all very cool, especially this one, where it was just such an original idea from a few people at Konami. And even the director, I believe, was just totally thrown off and shocked that it did as well as it did, that it started this insanely popular franchise like right away. Really cool stuff. I'm done with the hospital. That was it. Hospital's quick. It's fun. I'm meeting Lisa for the first time, which is, she's an iconic character.
Was I dreaming?
Was I dreaming?
You were too late.
And then Dahlia interrupts our alone time, unfortunately. Now we're gonna get this key now. Well, maybe. Maybe we will. There it is. All right. Come on, Harry. The movement in this game is not polished like you saw in Silent Hill 3, I can assure you. The movement in Silent Hill 3 is probably like the most perfect Silent Hill game as far as like movement goes. From the Team Silent games, at least. But yeah, driving Harry is essentially like trying to drive a yacht uphill of a muddy slope. That's kind of how I try to explain it to people. So if you haven't played it, it's hard to explain. But if you have, then you just know. You just know he controls just very poorly. We're going to the antique house. I'm sorry, the antique store, not antique house, as you call it, house. But that's where the first major skip is in this run. We're not doing it because we are on the all bosses run, so there's no need to do the skip. But it's called Romper Skip, and it is very infamous among runners, and it's a pain. It takes a lot of practice, a lot of learning. Once you get it, it's a lot of fun. It lets you skip over an entire boss fight and an entire area, essentially. Push this aside, and then Sybil's gonna interrupt us. We're gonna keep going.
Where am I?
Also, it'll take 2 seconds. I'll showcase it real quick. I grabbed the health drink on purpose. If I can't get it on the first try, then I'll just keep going. But I'm sure I can. Nope. He didn't even give me a chance. All right, one more time. Wow, twice in a row. All right, never mind then. We're just gonna keep going. He did not let me do it twice in a row. It's very odd. Because usually with his RNG hold run towards you immediately when you come out with your flash on him, but that both times in a row he ignored me completely. That's very rare. Wow. That's upsetting. It's okay. It's all right. Next time. Yeah, you essentially skip this entire area and then some if you do that skip.
Cheryl.
Into our next boss fight, which is Twin Feeler, which is just essentially a very large monstrous caterpillar. Let's see if we can do the movement for this. It's a little bit tricky. Good fight. Good night. And then Harry's just gonna go for a ride for a second. You're welcome. That's a little glitch you can do. You can make Harry slide across the floor. You won't be able to control Harry afterwards, but because we go into a cutscene after this, we're able to gain control of Harry again. It's just something fun to do. It's pretty simple. It doesn't gain you anything, but it's just silly. It's fun. Now we're gonna walk through this bummer town for a little bit. Yeah, in the ending person, you don't get to see all this. All of the nothing in the broken down town in the other world. So we're on our way to the hospital now, so we can get in touch with Lisa again. Yeah, raining, gross. You use some key things to look for, like the galaxy store right there. That's kind of how we know when to turn. Just like a dead giveaway. Then up here is our second one, we know when to turn again. It's a store called Just Cats. Can't forget about Just Cats. That's our key, though. That we're almost at the hospital. Start paying attention. There we go. All right. Oh. Well done. Harry, walking to the pole. Well done. We're back at the hospital. Looks a little bit different now, but we are back. Now we're actually coming to our third boss fight. We're going to talk to Lisa for a second, and she's going to tell you to leave, basically, and you're going to leave. Cool. Blinked. You just saw her, and now you're going to go see her again in the exact same place. We ran across town for almost nothing. This is our next boss fight. It is the Float Stinger boss fight. Oh, that's unfortunate. You're going to see me taking intentional damage here. I don't want to take damage, but I want to stay on key for this boss fight. The way it works is you can't just go in here and start blasting the boss. You're actually going to run out of ammo very quickly. We're actually timing our shotgun shots because you do more damage when you wait. I think it's intervals of 3 to 4 seconds. Not a bad fight. Not a bad fight. That's probably the most intricate fight in this run. Well, Sybil, the next boss fight is also a little bit intricate as far as moving with. It's a lot shorter. You do have to do some tricky movement. Yes, we're done with that part. Now it is daytime again. Lovely. And now we're going to the sewers in Silent Hill for the first time, where there is a lot of RNG with the enemies because they can block you, they can hit you, they can do all sorts of stuff that you don't want. But again, a lot of it is just RNG. So you have to kind of hope for the best and plan accordingly and try to maneuver out of the way of these things as quick as possible. Especially for one specific part where it's, hey, you're going to get hit or you're not going to get hit. It just depends on what the game feels like doing to you that day. You'll have some runs where you go the same route every time and you're going to get hit every time. And then sometimes where you don't get hit and you save, 2 or 3 seconds and it's amazing. But again, it's not up to you. Not up to you at all. Use that and we're off. You kind of have to listen too, because if you hear I believe they're called scratchers, but if you hear them in certain spots, then you have to kind of plan accordingly to where you have to turn Harry. Usually this one, if you hang on the wall a little bit, is always going to be out of your way, but sometimes the game just wants the game. Like that, the game just wanted the game for no reason. So there's one hit. Decent RNG here. Now, on the way back, that same one is the one that will give you either good or bad RNG. I'm not really worried about my health. I did grab a health drink on purpose, just in case. But my controller has just started vibrating, which is actually not too bad. That means I'm in caution. So like in Silent Hill 3, you have the little health cross on the bottom right. You don't have that in this. Here, you just have the feel of your controller. And essentially, the closer you are to death, the harder it's going to vibrate. Jump scare. Got him. All right, here we go. Where is this RNG at? Are we blessed or are we cursed? Let's find out. And yeah, it's cursed. It was almost good. that's essentially what'll happen if you have bad RNG. Sometimes they'll just straight up block you and you can't run through them. That one's kind of tricky. Again, you're driving a boat uphill, so if you're trying to make quick turns like that, it's a lot harder than it looks typically. There's another area where their light's going to be off half the time, so the enemies don't come up and hit you or block you. Like those cockroaches will just straight up block you if you're in their way. Then they'll bite you and you'll stand there. There's a lot of things in this run, especially with the enemies, where they're just time thieves essentially. They're just time thieves. You have to learn their movement placements, learn how to go away from them in time. That almost got hit. And the next few doors, you're gonna have to kind of turn Harry. That way you're not bonking into every single one. It's very easy to do. That guy was nice. Usually it's not usually, but sometimes that guy will just kind of jump in your way and hit you. So not a bad sewer so far, kind of an average sewer thus far. Again, light off so you don't get hit by multiple enemies. This door is infamous for bonking on. Let's see how it goes. Nice. And we're gonna grab a key out of some bloody water. Like, what could go wrong, right? What could go wrong? Harry, come on. We're gonna get away from these guys now as fast as humanly possible. What's nice is that on easy difficulty, they're all just kind of behind you. Whereas if you're playing on normal, I believe one spawns in front of you. And you have to kill him and get him out of the way. But here we're good. We can just run on by. And we're at the end of sewers. Beautiful. Again, not a bad sewers, kind of an average sewers, but again, RNG is just, it's a lot in that area, for sure. And it's fun to kind of know or figure out like what you have to do in a pinch. If you're doing a run that's good or good plus or even UFO, this area is a little bit more important. On the bad and bad plus endings, which is we're doing bad, essentially with all bosses, you don't have to do anything in the resort area, but if you are doing UFO, you have to use the channeling stone here. If you're doing good plus, you have to do Kaufman side quests. So thankfully on this category, you don't have to do much. You have to just kind of run through it. There's an enemy called the Romper that was behind us that will sometimes chase you down this whole area and then jump on top of you and steal your time. So thankfully that didn't happen. There is a chance of one that's going to hit us shortly on the boat section, which is a pretty infamous area for that. You know that something has like a bad reputation in a run if they've like named it and it's called Top of Stairs. And I'll show you guys why it's called that momentarily. Hopefully it doesn't happen. Hopefully I can kind of explain it when we get there. But again, here you're in the town, you're just kind of running through, taking a very particular line that so you can be on course for this turn you have to do. But if you have your light on, you're actually going to run by this alleyway that has like 3 or 4 rompers in it, and they will just chase you and just basically jump on you over and over again. Not a good time. Not a good time. Also in this next area, please do not mind the 2 FPS. Surprise dog there. Yeah, 2 FPS, can't do much about it. Even on emulator that happens. It's a lot. The PlayStation just can't handle how awesome the game is apparently.
Civil.
All right, go out here, or not. Thank you, Harry. All right, so here's the area I was explaining earlier where you have to run essentially with your light off the entire time. This staircase right here. Let's see if we're unlucky. Okay, cool. So a lot of the times, well, not a lot, thankfully, but sometimes there'll be a romper enemy there, and they will just jump on top of you the second you're at the top of that stairs, and it's literally called Top of Stairs. Yeah, again, you know something's really bad in a run if it's named. Like how a lot of the zombies in Resident Evil have names, because they've been problems. That's rare. Surprise. Now you guys got to see how Harry looks when he's hit by an air screamer, so that's cool. That's why it's important to have your light off, because the light actually attracts enemies. So, gotta be careful. See, he's gaining up on me. Wow, it happened twice now. Extraordinary. And the bonk. That's okay. That's okay. This is the lighthouse, obviously. But if you're doing the UFO run, this is where the run ends, is right here. It's the shortest run in the game. Even casually and speedrun-wise, it's very short. It's like 25 minutes on a speedrun. Yeah, we're not doing that though, obviously. Leave the lighthouse. Harry's gonna be sad that his friends aren't in the boat anymore.
Sybil hasn't come back.
Exactly. Now we're going to our sewers again. Gonna be a little bit different this time. And earlier, me and Nick Dice were talking about the creature, the Mumbler. They look a lot different than the Grey Children. There's actually one in the sewers here. Sometimes two, depending on what happens, but you're always going to see at least one. Which is interesting how that one it was left in this version. Probably just to have a different type of enemy, like near the end. That's most likely why. But it is cool that they kind of left that in there, just for some diversity, this version of the game. And then after this, we'll be at our 4th boss fight. I had to question myself, sorry. I kind of just do it. I usually don't bother like counting which boss is which. I kind of just do the run. Here's our Mumbler enemy. I love how this enemy looks. It's very cool. It's creepy, it's dark, it's scary. Looks like we didn't get another one that spawned. That's nice. Because sometimes you'll have an extra one that spawns. Oh, never mind. I was wrong. There he is. Very, very cool looking enemy. But they do the same thing the Grey Children do. They kind of just latch onto you and give you a hug. They can swipe at you also, like the Grey Children, I believe, as well. But all right, now, again, we're going to have 2 FPS in this area. This is the theme park. And I believe it's the exact same merry-go-round that you fight Alessa on in Silent Hill 3. There's a possibility I'm wrong. I don't want to be wrong, but I believe it is the same one. And 2 FPS. Can't do anything about it. The game's in the game. I think the movement for this boss fight is my favorite, considering it's kind of goofy and silly looking. And unfortunately, because we're doing the bad ending, we're not saving Sybil. We actually have to take her out, sadly. Doesn't feel good, especially because my dog's name is Sybil. It's named after this character. So it always kind of feels bad, but... Slide to the right. It's phase 1. Good fight. And now we're in the last area of the run. We're going to nowhere. And unfortunately, Sybil is now deceased. This is the final area. This is nowhere. What's cool about this place is it's actually like an encompassed area of all the areas you've been in the whole game. Like you'll see parts of the school in it. You'll see parts of the hospital in it. It's really cool. This is gonna be the final area of the run. A lot of cool movement here too, a lot of cool imagery. Everything kind of comes together at this point. Little laughing ghost Alessa in fast speed. Somehow we're in the school, weird. But again, it's kind of just like a conglomeration of all the areas you've been to. I'm gonna get some power tools here, well, not power tools, excuse me. Some tools here. Harry Mason is a dad, and I expect he knows how to use them to some degree. Don't let these nurses hit you. Just as a precaution. Why not? So in this area, you have to get various keys, crazy, to access other areas in nowhere. We're actually going to be doing a few puzzles on the way. First major puzzle is this guy. I believe it's called the Zodiac puzzle. You're essentially putting on here how many limbs each one of these things have. That was 4. This is 6. This is 8. Good puzzle. Stone of time loss. There's a reason for that. It's an inside joke in the community. But no, it's literally because there's a thing you use it on a clock, and you can just straight up miss. Nope. Oops. I didn't hear the clicks. Getting these various items we need to put into a door before the last boss fight. Nice job, Harry. Sometimes this game just drops inputs. Now, I'm not going to spoil this in case you haven't played this, but it's a very sad scene. You know, you know. I'm not going to talk about it, but you know, you know. I'm sure a lot of you do, but that's a major spoiler, and I'd rather not shed info on that. On a time loss? Nice. Yeah, that right there, if you miss that hitbox slightly, the item just won't work. But good. It was nice. Our light puzzle door. Oops. Inputs, please. Get another key. Get a couple more items here. Hopefully we don't get memed here with her falling. Sometimes she'll just not fall and she'll just stand there for a second. And the other nurse has come up and like stabbed me, and it's not a good time. So hopefully, or I'm glad that just didn't happen. Nice. All right, a couple more items we need to progress through. This next string of doors is probably the kind of the most chaotic part of this area, where we can just bypass the cage in general. One hitbox. Now this puzzle you can do a couple different ways. You can actually go up here and use the dagger on it, and then, or use the ring on it, and then take the dagger afterwards. That's actually a lot faster. Not a lot faster. It's marginally faster to just get the dagger first, then use the ring. Yeah. If you don't use the ring on that door, you get murdered immediately. Literally, Harry will get like pulled into that fridge, and that's it. It's just over. Open up this lovely bag of jelly beans. And for some reason, there's a key inside. Another item to open up this door. Turn off the power here. We're in the last few rooms of the run. All right, let's see if we can get this dodge. Did not get the dodge. That's okay. It's a very, very, very difficult dodge. It's okay to not get it sometimes. Totally fine. Even if you are perfect at doing that dodge, sometimes RNG will just intervene and you'll get grabbed anyways. Leaving, though, thankfully, is a little bit easier. All right, our our last key item in this run, right here. Same room as in Silent Hill 3, by the way. Just a slightly different puzzle. Let's see if I can do this real quick. Why not? There we go. I couldn't help myself. All right, and this is it. It's the last boss fight. It's very, very, very difficult. There's a lot of intricacies to it. So I'm going to concentrate for a second. And time is now. That's it. That is Silent Hill. All bosses.
Daddy.
Cheryl.
Thank you, Daddy. Goodbye.
Thank you, Daddy. Goodbye. Nothing short of poetry.
Cheryl? Can't be. Can't leave like this.
I also don't remember the last time I got a good ending in this run. Just in general, just playing the game casually. Also because it's in fastest speed, this song is sped up and it's very comedic and I can't take it seriously. And out of respect to the song, I'm going to just skip it. Now, let's see the final time of this run. Oh, well, first off, we have to see our boy, our man. This is the bad ending. It's just Harry taking a nap. That's it. Little blooper reel there, but we're just gonna go to our end game time. 32:54, not that great, but honestly, like it was still a pretty solid run, I think. Little mistakes here and there, but not a bad run at all. But yeah, that's Silent Hill all bosses.
All right, GG. Thank you for the run. Before we do go to our next run, where can people find you if they want to find you?
I stream on Twitch at twitch.tv/deathtropes. I put up stuff on YouTube also, but a couple shout outs real quick. Shout out to Punchy for having a very, very good no monster out of bounds run. Sorry, I sometimes just get the name of that run confused because it's a lot to say. Yeah, it was a very, very good run. Shout out to Niddle, who will be doing Silent Hill 2 next. And then shout out to everybody that is a horror speedrunner that dedicates a lot of their time to making sure that runs like Silent Hill are still alive and well. It's a good time. So if you are interested in learning any of these Silent Hill runs at all that you're seeing tonight, I will say the Silent Hill speedrunning community is very, very helpful and absolutely will help you if you are ever interested. But yeah, thank you very much.
All right, thank you for that run. Once again, if you would like to check out Death Tropes, the link is in chat. You can find them there for a lot of Silent Hill fun. We do have one more game for you coming up. Before we get to that, I do just want to say we do have the annual Sonic Hotfix event back with Sonic and the Sega All-Stars live on June 14th and 15th at 12 p.m. Eastern. This year, we're also expanding beyond Sonic speedruns to include other iconic Sega franchises. You can type !Sonic in chat for the full schedule. And all right, everyone, we are back from the break. Hope you all enjoyed that run of Silent Hill 1. Now, this next run, the final run of the night, we're going to be going to Silent Hill 2, but things are a little bit different. This game has been on Hotfix, I think, a good few times. However, within the last time it was on and now, apparently the game got broken way, way open. I think previously this run was probably about, like, let's say a 2-hour run. Kind of long, but, you know, still fun. But now it's been, like, chopped literally in half, a lot of new tech, and we're going to see that now. Anyway, here's Silent Hill 2 90% New Game Plus with Niddle. Take it away.
Thank you so much, Ecdysis. Hey, everybody. My name is Yiddle. As Ek said, last time this run was shown, I guess on a main GDQ would have been Captain Ezekiel's run at GDQ 2025, I want to say. And that was when the run was about 2 hours long. But thanks to some pretty crazy stuff that we're going to be getting into very soon, we are now down to like a 50-minute-ish run, roughly, about an hour RTA. So a lot of changes, a ton of stuff that we're going to have to do. There's a lot of soft lock potential. Fortunately, I'm joined by my good friend XC, who actually found a lot of these glitches. So XC, introduce yourself.
Hello, my name is XC, main labber for this run. Haven't really speedrun before, but this is like the first game I've ever got like interested in, and mainly been labbing out. I don't really run the game, but I know most of the tech in the game and more fine details with it. Yeah,
absolutely. It's been a huge collaborative effort. A lot of people, myself included, all sort of came together, and within 3 months we kind of revolutionized this run. So I'm going to get it started. We have plenty of time in the intro to explain some stuff. Time will start as soon as I skip this cutscene, so I'll count it down. But yeah, this is going to be a doozy. Buckle up. So I'm skipping the cutscene. 3, 2, and go. Right. So rough overview of the story. Silent Hill 2. We are James Sunderland. We are here because we received a letter from our wife, Mary. Mary is dead, so that's a little odd. James is trying to figure out what's up. And that's the rough gist of it. Looking for wife. This is New Game Plus, so we are going to be doing the dog ending, which arguably is one of the more fun endings. It's also faster than the New Game ending because it skips out on the last 2 bosses. So theoretically, with the strats as they currently stand, this would be the fastest category. So, what's changed? We have developed a new tech. You're going to hear us refer to it quite a lot, called breakout tech, and it actually came to the Discord, I want to say like 4 months ago. Not even necessarily a speedrunner, just kind of a glitch hunter and somebody who was playing the game named Akion showed us a clip of them doing something really interesting by reloading, quick turning, and then interacting with an obstacle. So all throughout the game, there's all these like little vault locations, and you can crawl through walls and underneath things. And essentially, at every single one of those, if you combine any of James's animations, it doesn't necessarily have to be reloading, but reloading is the most easy to force. You can use that breakout state to actually clip out of bounds. And during the time that James would normally be doing his like crawling animation or his vaulting animation, James has no collision and he ignores gravity for the most part. So yeah, as you can imagine, that got posted to the Discord, and it caused some waves, and we immediately started testing stuff. We literally went through the whole game, just at every single possible vault. Those first few days, first few 48 hours were really exciting because we were finding all sorts of stuff. We were learning that the game really doesn't have as many triggers as we thought. We can bypass a lot of stuff, and I helped find some stuff, but XC helped really lab out and find out some consistent strats, because it's one thing to sort of do a glitch one time and be like, oh cool, we're on the other side of this wall, that's sweet. It's another thing to be like, how do we do that consistently every single time in the run? We have to do the same exact inputs, we have to be careful about where we're aiming. So all of these skips end up being pretty precise. There's like a certain amount of leeway with some of them just because the animations are longer, but a lot of them, it's like one wrong key press, one wrong move, and you're kind of just trapped in a wall. It's pretty brutal.
Yeah, this new breakout tech actually removed a lot of the RNG from the run as well, because we can actually just skip all the RNG checks now.
Yeah, which is pretty great. It used to be that the RNG was kind of the biggest pain point in this run in really every category, just because you could be on a really good pace, and then the RNG could theoretically set you back upwards of like 20 seconds, which on a PB pace is not good. Now, it's like better and worse, really, like a blessing and a curse, because now we can soft lock, which is like far worse than maybe getting bad RNG because you're just kind of stuck. However, we don't have to deal with the RNG other than one spot. So, should explain, we are playing in light action difficulty and hard riddle difficulty. The riddle difficulty is actually optional in the New Game Plus category. It doesn't matter. what riddle difficulty you play in. It really, in terms of time save, time loss, we've like debated it back and forth, like maybe a second or two between light puzzle difficulty and hard, riddle difficulty. And for New Game Plus, we always play in light, just because playing in hard in New Game Plus really wouldn't be very different. We're going to use the chainsaw for like everything. And we're really not going to kill a lot of stuff in this run. I think we kill like 8 things, right, by the end of it.
Yeah.
Including bosses. So we're going to be skipping some bosses. We're going to be not fighting a lot of enemies. The opening here is pretty standard, pretty vanilla. As soon as we do our first skip, you'll notice that this isn't quite the same Silent Hill 2 remake run that you may have seen before. So we're grabbing our map here, and this whole intro is actually really good. It's really faithful to the OG. I also speedrun a lot of Silent Hill 2 OG, as well as Silent Hill 2 Enhanced Edition, and so I'm a big fan. And when this game first came out, it was kind of a bummer, because it was 2 hours long, and it was still a fun run, but it's really hard to commit to practicing for 4 hours, and then you do one attempt, and it's been 6 hours, right? So it's really nice that we finally have some tech that chopped this run down significantly, you know? And it's skill-based, so it's something that you can get better at. You can learn the muscle memory, you can memorize the angles better.
Wait.
But yeah, coming up to our first skip here, and here is where we are supposed to get the plank and the radio, which are 2 absolute classic items to the Silent Hill franchise, I would say. We're not going to get that. We're going to bypass both of those. This skip doesn't even necessarily save a lot of time. It's like maybe like 20 seconds or so. But it's a really cool skip. And we do it currently in the New Game Plus run. So I'm going to position myself here where I can see the interact, and then I'm going to pull out the chainsaw. And just like that, so we used the animation of James pulling out the chainsaw to quick turn and interact with that little crawl space at the same time. And by doing that, we entered the breakout state. And like I said, in the breakout state, we have no collision. So in the breakout state, we can use our dodges to actually control James's movement. So what I was doing is I was holding sort of left and up diagonal in order to get myself into the right position. And I think XC actually found these setups, right?
That one actually was found by Red Zoro, and this was found by Birch Maverick, this jukebox skip. I think also Red Zoro found this jukebox, but I think he didn't post about it.
So that skip that we did is actually, it's much bigger than it looks. We just skipped, so there's this whole section in the beginning where we have to go do a puzzle. We gotta go get like 3 different key items. You gotta run to an apartment building. You gotta get a button. You gotta do a whole bunch of stuff. And you have to do all of that before you can go get the apartment key and make your way to apartments. We just skipped all of that. It's like 5 minutes, maybe 6, right?
I think it's more. I think it's like around 8.
Around 8,
mark?
yeah. So
yeah, it's a lot.
So right there, saving 8 minutes within the first 6 minutes of the run. Pretty huge. And obviously, since this is dog ending, we need to go get the dog key. Normally, if we were doing like a restricted run, we would grab this at a different point. But because we never went down this road earlier to go to the record store, we have to get the first half of the dog key here. And unlike the OG, the dog key is actually in 2 parts that you have to combine, which I think threw like 90% of people hunting for the dog ending off the first time, because everybody was expecting it to just be in one piece. But yeah, we're making our way to apartments. So far, so good.
Yeah, I do love how the combining dog key has become a part of the run as well. Like we are going to be using the combination of the dog key for the run to make one other skip a lot easier.
Yeah, exactly.
Later on in the run.
So yeah, it's really kind of sweet how everybody came together to contribute and work towards optimizing this run. Like within 3 months, dropping an hour off of a game that was out for almost 8 months without any real major tech sort of discovered for it. You know, like it was like a time bomb where it took a while for this tech to be discovered, but once it did, it really like blew up. Sort of changed the whole run and made it a lot more fun, and I would say just like more flashy in general. That being said, a lot of apartments is pretty vanilla. We do have some skips towards the end of apartments, but the earlier parts of apartments are pretty chill, and much like they are in other categories. We are on our way to go get, you just saw we got the flashlight, which is cool. So right now we actually only have the chainsaw and the flashlight because we skipped the radio and the plank. And I really like skipping the radio because it makes a whole lot of noise, like in all these hallways, because there's enemies everywhere, obviously. So it's actually just a little bit more quiet and chill. But we're on our way to go get easily the most powerful weapon in the game. And it's not really powerful because because it's like a pistol. In fact, it's pretty weak. It's not very good, and we're only going to use it like twice, maybe. It's powerful because once we have the pistol and we can reload, we can effectively break out anywhere. So you saw me doing the breakout by pulling the chainsaw out of my inventory. That's kind of slow. It's kind of clunky to have to go into the inventory to pull out the chainsaw. Or you also saw me, I pulled out the map so that James would put away and then take the chainsaw back out so we could use that animation. All of that is not super optimal. We don't want to have to do that. So theoretically, we could skip the pistol. We've discussed this. But I think the sentiment is like it would make every breakout way harder to do because you would have to do it off of other animations. You could use James healing is one of the animations you can use. The goofy little idle animation where he holds the chainsaw above his head like a maniac. You can break out on that. So really any animation that James is in, other than his default idle animation, you can break out off of that. So pistol definitely the most useful just because it's really easy to set up, really fast.
And I think we timed it. It only saves like a couple seconds time because you have to like make this awkward. Yeah. Because you have to go this awkward path because you have to go upstairs again. Yeah. So it's not really worth it. If you want to do like weapons only run, then you can skip all the melee weapons if you want to.
Yeah. Yeah, you actually could. You could do absolutely no weapons in the run.
Actually, you're forced to pick up the plank or chainsaw. Well, but either one you have to pick up. Yeah.
Yeah. Plank only, but you don't pick up anything else. That would be the way to go. So, grabbing the pistol here, you're gonna see me reload it. It's kind of important that I don't like reload my remaining ammo because this is how we're gonna be setting up. Oop, I forgot to dash in time. We can normally skip that. This sort of setup with having the ability to reload kind of allows us to do all of the skips. I tried to get a little cheeky one there. You can do these front-facing breakouts where you kind of just glide forward a tiny bit. It saves maybe a second there, and it's actually pretty high risk because if I end up in the counter or in the bench, it's soft lock. But yeah, we'll definitely have some front-facing breakouts. I'm gonna try and like not do the super crazy ones. There's like some really small time saves that you can get out of them, but the risk is super high that you're gonna get stuck. We're just gonna keep it to like the major ones and the most important ones, and theater skips, of course.
There was a breakout just earlier that we bypassed, but like that saves 2 seconds, but it's extremely risky. So. Yeah.
12, 13, 7. Oh, hang on. Sorry. 12, 13, 7, 11. Cool. All these puzzles, for the most part, are static, so just a case of memorizing. Sorry, continue.
Yeah, and we only recently figured out that you don't have to go right instantly because you have to go from the right and hit the number 15 first, but you can go left and then go right and do the puzzle that way, so it saves more time because you have to go through less numbers.
Yeah, which actually I've only just started to get used to. So there was a key that we skipped, and the key is for this door, but there's fortunately a crack in the wall here. So we don't really need to, like walls are kind of a suggestion now, now that we have the pistol and we're good to go. So skipping that key maybe saves like 10 seconds. That was actually one of the first skips that I found. And this one also actually I found, although XC I think found a better way to do it. So now we're just gonna dodge backwards. This skips maybe like 10 seconds-ish. I went for a cheeky one there, but we didn't get it.
Yeah, if you hit that, you can see James doing the snake on the floor.
yeah, you get control of James while he's crawling around, so you can like sort of make him break dance and stuff. It's pretty rad. This is a big one. This one I also found, and this one was just kind of on a whim. It was like one of those. I looked at where the pool was in correlation to where that crack in the wall was. and I said, hey, I think we have enough distance that we can get out straight to the pool. So you probably heard, maybe to your right, Eddie is vomiting in the room over there. We're not going to see Eddie until like way later in the run. Eddie, like, we don't even know that Eddie exists yet. And it's kind of amazing. It baffles me that we're allowed to do that. And that's one of those things that I would have thought the game has a trigger and it requires you to see the cutscene in order for you to progress. But actually, no. There's not really many triggers stopping us in this whole run. So that's Eddie's skip. That guy's going crazy. And,
yeah, there's actually only one hard trigger in the apartments that you have to go through, and it's only when you're going to leave the apartments. But we haven't found a way to skip the apartments yet. We're working on it, but there's 2 triggers that we have to avoid, and it's kind of hard.
Yeah, theoretically, there is a possibility that we could skip the entirety of apartments if we could find a way to trigger that. There are like 2 spots, hotel and apartments, where there are some skips that like maybe with enough glitch hunting, maybe with some crowdsourced information. If you're a glitch hunter and you're looking for something that is still kind of like on the cutting edge, this is definitely a good choice. So we're coming to Otherworld Apartments now. We'll do sort of part of this rather vanilla, and then we kind of bust it open and we save a good minute or so on a few skips. But yeah, so far I'm pleased with how clean this is going. Every single time I do a breakout, it is fairly nerve-wracking. Just because I know what can happen. I mean, I've been doing runs of this like kind of nonstop for the last week, month, whatever, and we've seen every possible situation of like where you don't want to end up with James. Like you could end up in these little cages, you could end up halfway between the cages, you could go completely out of bounds into the void. Yeah, more places you don't want to be than do.
Yeah, it's very precise, and it's always like almost always affected by where your camera is facing when you do a breakout. So where your camera is positioned when you interact with the wall, that's a big part of the breakout.
Yeah. Yeah, that and sort of the movement of the actual breakout. Those are probably the 2 kind of hardest things to put into muscle memory. And every breakout is slightly different, so you do have to sort of memorize. There's a nice one there, but I didn't quite get it. You do have to memorize all of the angles that you need to hold and how you have to do stuff. This one coming up here.
Slightly scary.
Slightly scary. Okay,
oh, that's looking nice. Okay,
yeah.
You got it.
Nice. Okay, cool. Okay, so that one skips actually quite a lot. And sort of changes how we would do this route. So normally you enter through there, and when you first enter through there, the scaffolding falls behind you. We actually left through the area that you're supposed to enter this area, and the reason I do that, and other runners differ on me on this, is because this way there are like no dudes in these hallways. If you go around the other way, there's like a whole heap and load of enemies that end up sort of in James's way. And I just really think it's more time lost to deal with those guys than just skip it outright. But it's open for debate.
Yeah, the enemies kind of get like activated after you like pull the valve there. So Needle just like runs around so he doesn't have to deal with them. And regarding the window that we went past through, that's actually a autosave spot. So if he would have failed that like breakout there, he would have had to reload the last save because the other save will have been destroyed, because if you get stuff like that, then you cannot reload the save anymore.
Yeah, I didn't want to mention it until after we were safe, but yeah, that one's actually one of the scarier ones, because the autosave gets made, like XC said, while you're doing the breakout. So if you're in the wall, if you do the breakout wrong and you're in the wall, the autosave gets made with you in the wall. And the last autosave is when we first entered Otherworld Apartments. Should also mention, because we're doing these breakouts, we are skipping some of the triggers for the checkpoints. So it's kind of amazing in some spots how it's like, wow, I didn't realize if you fail this, you get sent back like 6 to 8 minutes of progress because we've just skipped all of the auto triggers in the last, or autosaves in the last 6 to 8 minutes. This is a very iconic scene. Good old Poopan James.
I do want to mention that the next breakout is going to be the first out of bounds breakout, where we go actually like
that's
out
true.
of the bounds.
Yeah. Yeah, so coming up here, pretty difficult one. This one probably took maybe the most for me to get consistent. The key is actually killing that dude, because that, we haven't mentioned this yet, but enemies can really mess up your breakout. There's some weird lock-on mechanic thing that happens where James will start orbiting an enemy. Hang on. Oh, we got the old school. The old school. All right, so we have to do a little backup here. We're going to deload the world and wait for James to fall. This might fail, but it's okay. So while we're paused here, this is just a little deload to wait for the world to deload, and hopefully James falls. Oh.
Ooh, being around the wall.
Okay. All right, there's our first soft luck. Got it out of the way. I shouldn't have said I practiced this. I was like, oh man, I'm really good at this one now. It's never a problem anymore. But fortunately, that autosave is right there, so that's cool. We're going to come back through here, kill this guy, and hopefully we get it the way I want, because that actually wasn't quite the setup.
I'm just so precise with it, because you have to like press the buttons every single time, but it's very hard to do it like consistently every time. And here we go.
There we go.
That looks better.
Yeah, when you get that right, it actually looks really cool, because you're just out of bounds for a second, and then you dash back inbounds onto the lower floor. That skip saves probably about a minute or so, like 40 seconds to a minute.
It saves a bunch.
And it's kind of unfortunate, because you lose about 40 seconds to a minute if you fail it and you have to retry. So it's like you kind of only have one shot in a PB attempt to get that one. Otherwise, you're cutting into your time save. But not bad. Of all the ones to fail, that one's totally cool. I'm chill with that one.
I still have trouble with that one. It's like kind of precise in the end, and I think it's because the loading times of like objects is based on your hardware. It makes the skips and breakouts slightly different on each PC, because depending how fast the objects loads in for you, you have to like kind of do it differently. So
yeah,
sometimes you have to pause buffer, because if you don't pause buffer, the objects don't have time to load in, or they load in too fast.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. If you go through and you watch everybody who runs this, everybody has sort of different setups for these breakouts. Like, people find the one that is the most comfortable and still saves the most time, and then they just kind of rock with it, because they're like, it works for me, why would I change it? Why would I, break it if it works? And I definitely do that too. There's some setups that I spend a little bit more time with than maybe would be optimal, but it's like, it works 100% of the time when I do that, so why would I change it? Speedrunners are really stubborn.
It's really cool to watch runners, because everyone does them differently. Everyone has their own setups, how they do the breakouts. I see mostly people do like front-facing breakouts, but I do like 180s, where I look at the opposite direction and do the breakout, because I find them consistent. So it's a lot of fun to like go through the streams and see, oh, like he's doing it like this, and like kind of like think about like, can we make it better or easier somehow?
Yeah, you do learn a lot doing this run if you watch other streamers, because you're like, wow, I didn't realize that you could look to the right. I'm gonna try that and see if it works better than my method. And then you look to the right and you're like, wow, that was the key. That was what I was missing. Coming up to Pyramid Head, our boy. This is gonna be a pretty quick fight. He's not gonna be around for very long. So we're just gonna dodge here, and then I'm just gonna spam chainsaw into him. And he's interrupting our chainsaw swings, which actually speeds things up a little bit. And that's the fight. Done.
I figured out like a couple of weeks ago that there's a frame perfect input. If you pause and interact with the Pyramid Head door, you can skip the cutscene while you're in menu, and it affects the Pyramid Head's AI, but only above 60 FPS. So he starts actually walking towards the door where you want the Pyramid Head to go. But it's a frame perfect input, and it saves you like 2 seconds from just like interacting the door itself. But like if you miss the frame perfect window, then you might actually lose time, because you might be on your menu or not have even interacted with the door.
Yeah, we've added like a good amount of like, oh, this is like super toxic. Like you would never want to do this on a PB pace. But like then we start doing it on PB paces and we get mad when it doesn't work. It's like, that's just the way.
Yeah, actually, every cutscene that we're gonna like run into, if you pause at the same frame when the cutscene starts, you can skip the cutscene while you're in your menu, and it might have some like weird like interactions with the game. Sometimes it's like might skip like holding like an animation with James like looks at the item like a key item and you can like turn it around. Like if you can menu. If you're in menu while that happens, it just skips the animation. And technically, it saves like 2 seconds. But that's a frame perfect input you have to get every time. So do you want to really go for that?
I ain't doing it yet. Not worth it. So this is Maria. She's not your Mary. We think she's our wife, but she's not our wife. She's kind of our wife, but she looks different. And, you know, it's play the game. You'll figure it out.
Let's go.
But Maria's going to be tagging along for actually a bit longer than like she normally would. We're going to be doing some funky stuff really quick, and this section is actually probably one of the bigger sort of traversal time saves because we're not going to be. There's this whole like section where you have to run away from some monsters. God, it's been so long since I even did it. You run away from some monsters. You go into Heaven's Night. And then you run outside, you go through a little courtyard, and then you get to the movie theater. We're going to be doing only the get to the movie theater part, pretty much. So we're going to come up to here. And so far, if you've seen the run before, this looks totally normal, nothing weird. It's what we do after we collect the dog key. Just fumbling my puzzles of all things. Could you imagine? Oh no. She's fine.
Okay, I'm fine.
So we're actually going to reload here. That's like, I think the only time in the run that you're going to see me really actually reload. Every other time I reload, it's canceled by the breakout tech. So
Just down this way.
yeah, we only get one, the first 2 ammo pickups, and then the one that we got in the Pyramid Head fight, and that's actually it. That's the only pistol ammo that we need for the whole run, and we don't even really need it for the ammo. We just kind of need it so that we have something to reload with.
Yeah, we only need ammo actually for any fight. We need 3 bullets. For
Yeah,
that,
we need
and
3
that's about
bullets.
it.
That's true. Yeah, that's actually it. So yeah, we just got the other half of the dog key. Normally, I would run to the right if we were doing a restricted run. However, we are not going the normal way, and I'm gonna do a safety save here because if I mess this up, it's like I think like 3 minutes to run back to where we were. So I am not gonna risk this one.
Yeah, and if you miss it at the theater, it's gonna be you're gonna go back like 6 minutes. So
Yeah,
James,
that's true. We also have the theater skip. Also,
So
some
we're
little
gonna-
dialogue there.
it's like you froze.
we're gonna see a different type of breakout here. We're gonna do the combining the dog key part, so it's gonna
Yes.
affect the upcoming breakout.
Yeah, if you want to explain how the item breakouts work while I do it.
So, yeah, so what you're going to see that he's going to go to his inventory and combine the dog key. And if we do this while we're in breakout, we get this weird state where you can move James while you're in the breakout. And by doing that, oh, nice, he got it. By doing that, the James will start looking at the key item, and we can still perform the breakout without having to do the reload, the quick turn thing. So you're going to see that he runs to a certain position and looks the way he wants to go, and he's going to press interaction and W, and he will straight dash to that direction, which makes us able to go longer distances without having to do the breakout. So it's more consistent, it's easier. It saves a little, it takes a little bit more time, but because it's so consistent and it helps, and you have to combine the dog key at some point, we're just going to go ahead and do it there.
Yeah. And now we're at the movie theater. So yeah, fortunately, there's some like triggers that deload all the obstacles that would otherwise be in our way, which is why you saw me in that little hut for a little while. And I am going to watch this cutscene because it has the funniest side effect from the skip we did. So normally Maria is here talking to James. This is kind of a canon skip, right?
Yeah, this is lore accurate because lore accurate skip.
The camera. I love that the camera cuts and nobody's there. And James is just like, yeah. So yeah, that's one of the unintended side effects of some of these skips is that we are like leaving or taking characters into places that they're not supposed to be. There is a skip here that saves 5 seconds. It's incredibly toxic. It's incredibly difficult. I'll do one attempt at it, and if we fail, or even remotely, if it looks even remotely bad, we abandon ship, and we don't do that.
We kind of meme about it. They're like, are you gonna go for the theater skip? It saves you 5 seconds, but if you fail it, you lose 6 minutes.
So yeah, normally if we didn't have a checkpoint or didn't have a save, there is no checkpoint here. So it would send us all the way back to when we first met Maria.
Yep.
I do have an emergency plan if things go tragically wrong, but no, we're not going for it.
Yeah.
Nah. So if I did the theater skip, we would have gone sort of to the right out that window, and we would have dropped back into the theater where Eddie was, and then we would have come out that door right there, and we would be right in here. So it saves 5 seconds, and it also breaks Laura, and it makes her just stand by the door. She doesn't react when James runs up to her. Which is funny. The cutscene still triggers, but Laura just stands there. And I learned yesterday that if you push Laura around, you can actually move her. She has pathing. So if you like push her into a corner, she'll actually path all the way out of the door when you do trigger the cutscene. It's really weird.
I actually didn't know that either.
Yeah. I did it the other day. I was like, whoa, like why does she have pathing? I thought she was just gonna like run straight ahead and then disappear. So, hospital. This is not where we would normally go for a hospital. Normally, we would have to get the key to then go into the basement, and that's where we kind of ditch Maria after the basement. We're not going to do any of that. We're going to come over here. We're going to do another item breakout setup. We're going to go through this wall, and we have skipped the basement. We are now in the hospital proper, and we did not go to the basement at all, which is sick because the basement is probably one of the biggest run killers in Restricted and the other categories, just because there's a lot of enemies that can grab you. There's a lot of body blocking that can happen. And so now we're in the hospital proper, and you're like, oh, cool. So now he's going to go get like the bracelets and do all that. No. We're not doing any of that. That takes a lot of time. So you're going to see me clip out here. Goodbye, James. And we're going to give it a few seconds. It doesn't take that long.
Yeah, it's not fine.
I think that's good.
Yeah, no, good. Yeah, it's good.
So we are now in a different state called airwalk state. And you might notice something kind of interesting about airwalk state. In this state, we have no collision. We can walk through everything. Walls have absolutely no meaning. And we have to go to 30 FPS for this trick. The problem is we can't interact with stuff, so we need that key item right there. However, because we can't interact with anything, that's kind of a problem. So the real breakthrough in this part was actually founded by XC and a few other people, right?
Yeah, Birch, me, and on Trigger.
Yeah. So we're just waiting for the deload here so that the actual hitbox for the item that we need, which I need to look at with my camera to make this actually work, appears. It takes about 13 seconds from the time that everything disappears. We should probably be good. I'm sort of hoping I can showcase... oh, yeah. Bye, Maria. Maria's not even supposed to be with us in this section. Normally, she gets a headache and she leaves after the basement. However, because we skipped everything, she's actually still with us. Which, again, it's weird that like she would even respawn in this section of the hospital. She's not supposed to be here in any circumstance. So again, waiting 13 seconds for the deload to happen. You could technically do this with the game unpaused. However, the game goes by IGT, which is load removed. So we pause. We don't lose any time effectively. Now we're going to come over here, and now we get to interact with this. And
that skip works because there's 3 states of objects. There's loaded in, then there's loaded not visible, and then there's unloaded. And when the objects first disappear, they become loaded not visible. But after 13 seconds of not being loaded not visible, they become unloaded. And we want to go inside the area facing the interactions. And when we do that, for some reason, they spawn back. The interactions will spawn back in and become visible for us, so we can interact with them again. But it requires the objects to be close enough to the border of the arena, so we can make them visible again.
Yeah.
And to leave the leave the airwalking state, Needle had to load his save, and otherwise we couldn't like leave the airwalking state. But because he loaded his save, that happened after picking up the key. James will be able to run normally again, and he's no longer a skinwalker.
Yeah. Should also mention the airwalk state. It's a really weird thing. I didn't do anything special necessarily to do it. We just went out of bounds and then waited for stuff to deload. There's another area that you can do it in the hospital that you can do in the new game speedrun. However, unfortunately, that trigger does not work in New Game Plus. I'm just going to do a quick reload here because it resets Flesh Lips AI, and this is going to be a pretty fast fight. Give him 2 chainsaws, he's gonna go back up. There's a faster setup for this, but I have not had any luck with it lately, so we're just going safe. And hopefully, there we go. Got him. And that's Flesh Lips.
There's actually a case, I think it was in Intel CPUs, 13K Intel CPUs, that if you don't reload there, there's a chance that the flesh lip goes up and doesn't come back down. So that's why you want to especially like reload. I haven't seen it happen on AMD CPUs, but like I've seen it happen with Intel CPUs.
Yeah, I've had that happen to me. Yeah, there's a few quirks that are very hardware dependent in this game. So now we're done with the hospital. I know we didn't really do anything, did we? And we're gonna do even less for the Otherworld hospital. Like we're just straight out of here. We do not need to do anything here. So this is kind of a tough skip. If I mess it up, there was a checkpoint earlier, so we can just reload it. It's been a little bit of trouble for me lately. I'm hoping we can just chill and get it. Nice.
Nice.
Okay, cool.
That was a good one. You need to show this one as well.
The angle looked weird, didn't it?
Yeah, it did.
Yeah, so this right now we're in a weird unloaded state. The Otherworld streets don't exist, so Laura's just running into the void. We have to reload the Otherworld streets, and in order to do that, all we have to do is hit a trigger over here. So we just skipped the entire Otherworld hospital. We didn't do a single thing, which is super rad. There was an original skip that was found that could do that in a way farther spot. It was like you had to clip through one wall, and then you had to climb a ladder, and then you had to go somewhere else, and it was just way longer. And I don't remember who. It might have been you, XC, found. You were like, hey, did you know that there's like a window right here that you can use to get to the spot that we need to go?
No. It was actually you complaining about it to me. You were like, oh my god, this is so annoying, it's so inconsistent. I was like, oh, I'll just go take a look. And like 10 minutes after telling you that, I was like, oh, Needle, I found a new one. Like, I found a better one.
That's so funny. Actually, a lot of my complaining to XC, I'm like, I really hate this. I don't like the way this works, man. Like, I know it's a good skip. I know you found it. By the way, this is gonna be lucky right here. I'm like, I know this is a good skip. I know you found it, but like the method just sucks. Like this is not viable for runs, you know? And XC, he would go to the lab and cook, or sometimes he would have a dream. He would lay in bed for a little while and then come back and be like, I just thought of something. I have to test it out. And then come back to me with a clip of like, here's the most consistent way that you can do this. And it happened like probably like 4 or 5 times. Like just the dude can cook.
Yeah. I do want to mention about that card that you just pushed. We actually have a one way to force a crash in the game, and it's a hard crash. The game just shuts down. If you do breakout, but you attack and interact at the same time when you grab the card, the game just crashes. It's a weird thing that it happens, but like it just crashes and you have to restart the game.
It's a good like party trick if you ever want to, if your friend's playing Silent Hill 2 for the first time and you want to like freak them out, just do a quick breakout at the cart, crash the game, and be like, oh, it's haunted.
Haunted copy.
So Otherworld streets, we really don't have too much we could do. Even if we could get into like an airwalk state or something like that, we would still just have to run this distance anyway. And it's not really possible due to the way things load in anyway.
Yeah, the loading zones in Otherworld streets are huge. There's no way for us to like get out of the loading zone. And even if we could, there's no place for us to go back in bounds because we cannot make a save anywhere. And there's no auto saves, I think, in any like close vicinity of a wall because So even airlock in here is not really useful. So
Yeah.
this is actually one of the longest sections in the game right now.
Yeah, for now.
For now.
There's just a quick breakout here. It's pretty minor.
So it's a good bunch of time.
Yeah.
It is slightly scary because that enemy over there can
Yeah.
affect it and you might actually go inside a wall. But
Yeah, there's a
It's usually
giant
free.
chasm in the earth in the street behind us, and I had a run the other day where I was trying to get all fancy with it, and I did an extra breakout at that window, and I just yeeted myself straight into the pit. It was like, it was pretty comedic, but from a man, that was a good pace RIP sort of standpoint. It really was not optimal.
here's another like breakout that will save like 15 seconds. But if you fail this one, this window climb over here it's an autosave. So if you fail it, you are hard locked if you
Yeah.
go inside a wall.
Yeah, and the last autosave we had actually was, other than that one, would be Otherworlds, when we first got to the Otherworld streets, pretty much.
Yeah, I think the key when you pick that one up.
Yeah, so it's a long walk. So now we're getting a letter, we're getting a wrench, that's all great. If you played the OG, this is kind of like a twist on what you do in the OG. In the OG, you get a wrench, and you go to a box to open with the wrench. In this, they were like, you know what? It actually makes more sense if the box is just open and you use the wrench on a door, because like the box in Silent Hill 2 OG, it's like bolted to the earth, like to dirt. Like it's not bolted into anything, so it kind of doesn't make sense. Like you could just slide the box out and then we'll dig around it. But yeah, use the wrench on this.
There's actually gonna be like a longer while when that nothing really new happens. This is just gonna be like a casual walk until prison.
Yeah,
where we have more.
pretty much. Yeah, this is the calm before the storm.
Yeah.
This is like when you're on PB pace and you're running through here. This is always like the part where you start overthinking and you're like, oh man, I don't want to mess it up at prison.
Yeah, this one is a lot of like there's like a slight break that you have, and then there's like a lot of breakouts that can go wrong. There's like soft lock and then a calm, and then the soft lock and a calm.
Yeah.
Like you're like balancing out between two states of the run like all the time.
Yeah. But yeah, this is a cool part of the game. This cutscene did not exist in the OG. They added it to develop Angela's character a little bit more, which I thought was pretty cool. Pretty nice. Remember, it was a surprise on first play. I was like, what does she do? But it's also funny. We have like barely seen these side characters. We have skipped quite a number of cutscenes between sort of Maria, Eddie, Angela. Did we skip any cutscenes?
Yeah, well, you can skip a cutscene with Angela in Otherworld apartments. So there's a way to skip a
yeah.
cutscene, but we don't do it because it doesn't save you time. It actually loses you time.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we wouldn't see other like characters until we see Laura.
Yeah.
If you don't like count the first when you meet Angela at the graveyard.
Yeah, that one's forced. Yeah, you can't avoid that
Yeah.
one. Unless, no.
Okay.
There is
unless.
like a really early breakout that you can do without even having the what's it called, the pistol. You can do it way back in the repair shop. I think it saves like a second. There's like, we got some crazy runners in the Silent Hill 2 remake community, so everybody's going for like swag. Like we have some real like style points where it's like I don't even think that saves time, but man, that looked really cool, didn't it?
Yeah. There's another one called Agos Mania, and I go to him like, oh, I found this like tech that saves 2 time, but it's really inconsistent, and like I will go for it. And he's like, yeah, I'm gonna go for it.
yeah. He's like, I got to figure it out. Yeah. So we're just on our way to the prison, or the historical society, and then the prison.
Yeah, the prison is gonna be a big one. That's the largest skip that was like a community of to find out. I would like to thank Savitru and On Trigger for the help with the prison skip.
Yeah, On Trigger and Savitru definitely laid a lot of the groundwork for how that one works. You'll see in a bit, but it's quite complicated. We're going to be doing 3 breakouts, sort of back to back to back, and it's finished with a kind of a crazy out of bounds where we're going to skip a whole lot of stuff. We'll get there.
Yeah, we'll get that. Don't want to spoil it too much.
Yeah, I don't want to spoil it. So for now, we're just dashing down the staircase. We got the space cow in the background. I've always wanted somebody to time it and see if this is the exact same length of time as the Silent Hill 2 OG one.
Yeah. So dashing down this downstairs and upstairs generally saves time. It's faster than just running down.
Yeah, probably should have mentioned that sooner. There is also a melee dash tech that you can do. It only really works with the plank or the pipe. It does not work with the chainsaw. And there's been some debate. It probably saves enough time over the course of the run that it's worth doing, but it's like it takes like 20 seconds just to get the plank, and then you're working at a 20-second deficit to kind of make that time back by doing the movement tech correctly, and then you have to do it for the whole run. And so at the moment, I'm like I don't know if the time it saves is worth the struggle. And then we would also have to switch back out to the chainsaw for every single boss fight, all 2 of them.
Yeah, back and forth all the time. No one has really timed it how much time it saves. I think it's very close. I think it does save time, but it's not really fun thing to do either.
Yeah.
Like plank boosting is generally people don't find it enjoyable.
Yeah, it is one of those things where it's a minor time save when you get it right, but if you chain it together for the entire run, it saves a lot. And if you mess it up even once, you've kind of cost all of the time that you were attempting to save. So it's one of those things where you kind of have to be confident in it before you implement it. So coming up on our only RNG here, there is a skip for the bug room. However, the skip, if done correctly, is still slower than getting a first try bug room.
Yeah.
I do like to gamble. Oh, second try. All right.
Second try. Oh,
but this guy's totally in the way. Oh my god. All right, what a meme. Well, we got a good bug room, but that guy was totally problematic. The way the bug room skip works basically is you bait that enemy into the room right as you pick up the key, and he actually very politely holds the door open for you, and it buys you just enough time that you can backwards dodge out of the room without having to enter the code. But you have to stand there for like a few seconds before the enemy comes into the room. So I've always said, like, if you can get first or second try, it's definitely faster than the bug room skip.
Yeah, it is faster.
So here we go. These are the 3 biggest skips in the run. The 3 skips I am frankly the most worried about.
The first one isn't too bad. We're gonna see Niddle like go through this window, and we need to make our way upstairs first.
Yeah, first one's pretty chill. We get to see James's movement on it. Oh wait, hang on. There we go.
Okay, nice. That's looking good. You can see James is like making his way. Ooh.
We got distracted by the enemy. So, okay, so that's a good example, honestly. We haven't seen it till now, but that's a good example of what... Okay. What? Iframes.
Yeah, the moves.
Yeah, that's a good example of what can happen if an enemy's in your way. You saw James just kind of like orbited around the enemy. That can really mess up all of your breakouts. It can happen on pretty much any of them where there's an enemy nearby. That's why we usually try and keep enemies away when we set these up. That was nice.
Yeah, that was good. There's going to be another enemy here that we are going to have to kill.
Yep.
This one otherwise follows you, and this one is actually really scary. This one is really precise. Let's see if he gets it on the first try. We're going to have to go. Oh, nice.
Let's go.
That's a good
All right.
one. So we're going to see...
Now we can chill out a little bit.
It's going to kill
get an autosave.
Yeah. We're going to go actually high contrast mode here, because on this upcoming breakout, you have to be able to see when the camera starts moving to the right, back to James, because we're going to be going out of bounds, but still kind of out of bounds, but kind of in bounds. So let's see. He's going to pull out the map, because this, like I said, is very precise tech. We actually have to find like one of the first pixels to interact with the wall. You're going to see him run over here and find the tech. And there we go. We're going to wait for the camera to move back to James, and when that happens, we're going to... Nice, okay. It's still not done, so this is the backup tech. Getting...
Might be too
you can
far
get...
left.
I know, you're fine.
Nice.
Nice, good job. So that's a backup tech. Like, you can make it instantly here, but if you go on that ledge, we can deload and load back the zone in while we're on a dash, so we get around this. Now we're outside the Hangman's area, and Needle is going to run to the other side because there's a trigger that goes through the whole Hangman's area, but we can reach it from this side of the map, but not the other side. And this trigger spawns in the maze, it spawns in Abstract Daddy, and it spawns in Eddie boss fight. And what we're going to do now that we have all of that stuff spawned, it's actually located below this arena. And we're going to be void falling over there.
Yeah.
So he's going to...
Yeah, so I'm gonna move forward here, and we're gonna do a little pause, and then I'm gonna need to count to 34. So I do need to kind of concentrate so that I don't miscount. It's happened, but yeah, this is pretty precise, and we need to land at a very specific spot here. So you can count at home if you want. Count in the chat. No, the mods will hate that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, and then we do 1 to the right. And now we do a little pause buffer and a little bit of pray.
Yep.
I did count right there, right?
I'm pretty sure you did. I wasn't counting with you. We'll see if you missed it.
Hey!
Oh,
let's
nice.
go.
We got it. Yeah,
Sweet.
nice. So,
okay.
So we have to drop here because there's another trigger over here that's going to check. If you don't run through this, the Eddie fight itself doesn't spawn in. So
Yeah.
you have to.
So
we have
just to
go through this
reiterate
corridor.
what happened, we skipped from the beginning of prison without picking up a single weight, a single key item, a single puzzle. We didn't do anything. All the way to the Eddie fight. This skip saves 28 minutes on the run. It's the single biggest skip. It's honestly, it might be the single biggest skip in a game that I've ever speed ran. It's huge. It involves 3 very precise back-to-back sort of skips, and I'm really glad we got it as clean as we did. That was rad. So I'm going to do a little reload here. You're going to see me go into Borderlands graphics mode. This is one of the graphics filters in the game. I discovered a while ago that if you go into this filter, it just removes all the fog. So normally in this arena, you can't see from one side to the other. There's just a ton of fog in the way. And it just helps us be able to locate Eddie a little bit easier. We're going to get to see him spawn in because without the fog here, it reveals all the secrets of how Eddie spawns back in. I am extremely relieved that prison sequence went well. That is like by far the most nerve-wracking part of the run, without a doubt. Waiting for Eddie to spawn here. I can see you. No, you can't.
Yeah, that prison skip in general, it also saves us from having to deal with Hangman's RNG. There's a big RNG check there. It is really complex and hard, but as the runners have got better, I've seen people get more consistent with it. Some people now even go forward facing, so they don't do the map tech or item tech there. They just instantly send it and they hit it. People have got really good with the breakouts, and doing it instantly. We can actually perform this prison skip in 2 minutes and 40 seconds. I think that's the fastest I've gotten it, and that's really fast if you compare it having to go all the way around, taking 26 minutes. And casual playthrough, that's multiple hours of content skip.
Yeah, absolutely. It's funny because when the breakout stuff was first discovered, I remember we were routing prison very differently because we had found a way to do prison where instead of returning to that center hub room where you have to put the weights on the weight statue, you could actually go break out and get into all of the rooms to get all of the weight puzzles, and then don't go into that room until the very end. So basically have all the weights already, and then you just go to the puzzle and sort of do the last solution. And that was pretty cool. I was pretty proud of that. I worked on that quite a bit. And then XC was like, dude, prison is out. It's gone. It's done skis. And pretty wild.
Savi also found out before we found out this whole skip that like if we like failed the hangman's puzzle, we got like below the section below the hangman's, and we were able to do the same skip from there, but that's slower because you have to still get all the weights. But now we don't get any weights, we just send it instantly. It's really fast, and it's been actually kind of fun to like look how the run has progressed, how people have came up with new ideas, and how we've actually made it like faster and faster, like found more better solutions to the troubles we've had. We still have like couple troubles in total that we are still kind of looking at, but haven't still found anything.
It's always fun in like a run that gets a major tech like this, or like an out of bounds or something like that, because it kind of throws everything else into question. It's like, well, we always did prison in this order and this order, but now we don't need to do that. And like, you know, like certain parts of apartments, it's like, oh wait, like we don't need to go there because we're just skipping that entirely, you know? So yeah, it's watching this run evolve from like where it was 3 or 4 months ago to now has just been totally crazy. And yeah, I really just have everybody in the community to thank, because I came up with a few things here and there, but man, like XC, On Trigger, Zorro, Egos Mania, Savi, Burke, a lot of people in the Silent Hill 2 community put in a ton of work. I mean, I know XC like racked up like 200 hours in this game in like a week or something like that.
Yeah, it was a lot. It was too much, to be honest.
Yeah, went from like really not playing the game at all to wow, I now understand how like load triggers work and like how to deload and reload the map and stuff.
Yeah, it felt hours before this.
Yeah.
This hodl is actually really fun because we play differently depending on if you're New Game Plus or New Game. Because in New Game Plus, there's an extra trigger right at the end of the hodl that if it wasn't there, we could skip the entirety of the hodl. But because there's an extra trigger, we cannot skip it. But on New Game, this trigger doesn't exist, so we can just skip the hodl. Like we don't have to do any of the music box puzzles or anything. We just have to get the key and the tape, and that's it.
Yeah, it's there was a theory that Bliss ending could actually be the fastest ending. I think it would be if we could find a way to hit that trigger. So it would change New Game Plus drastically, where we would be doing Bliss ending instead of Dog ending. However, I don't know if there's a way past that trigger. Unfortunately, it'd be really cool. It'd be sick. So yeah, if you've ever seen how the hotel is usually done, it's a pretty specific, pretty optimized sequence in like Restricted. We are deviating heavily from that route. We are not doing things in the same order because we are, because we are going to be skipping pretty much the entire elevator section, which is kind of funny because we also kind of skipped the majority of the elevator section in the OG. And we also skipped Abstract Addy in the OG. So in a weird way, like the Silent Hill 2 remake has kind of come around to being equally as broken, if not far more broken than the OG Silent Hill 2, which is pretty sweet. Yeah,
we're actually gonna see the skip really soon after we're done with this mirror puzzle and pick up a key. Mm-hmm. That skip is actually, I think it's one of the coolest skips in the, like, what we have, like, with Prison Skip. It's really simple, but, like, the combination of it, what you do, it just looks, like, really flashy.
Yeah, and what's funny is there was another Out of Bounds that effectively did the same thing, and there was quite a bit of back and forth on, like, well, which way is faster? And it was sort of discovered that this was the most optimal order to kind of do it. Yeah. This is a hard skip, though. I should throw it out there.
On the other Out of Bounds, we actually go below the map, and we run to a certain place where we go back inside the map. And once the game is like, when James is like out of the map, he's like, it's not going to load in. But when the game realizes, oh, James is like over here, I need to spawn in this place, it spawns in, and James is just going to actually stand in there. In New Game, we still do the Out of Bounds where we go below the map. But on New Game Plus, we do this one.
Yeah. This setup's a little sketchy. Sometimes I struggle with it. Hoping it could be cool.
Let's see how it goes. Nice.
Cool. Take that. So we are now in the basement, at the end of the basement. And let me just make sure I'm aiming. That should be good, right? Yeah.
Nice. That was the last breakout of the game, actually.
That is the last breakout. I can finally breathe. Oh my god.
Yeah.
I should mention, so that clip from the balcony into the basement, I actually discovered that was like day one of us experimenting with breakout, and that was, if you want to see a pop off, there's a clip on my channel. But yeah, I said out loud, I was like, I wonder if there's a way where we can get from like the second floor directly into the basement. Man, that would be so cool. And then I went over to that balcony and I did it. And just by coincidence, I landed in the right spot. And I popped off so hard, I did a lap around my house. I scared the cats. But yeah, it's really cool that something that I originally found is now definitely useful in the run.
Yeah. It was actually kind of funny because how that works is that when James is on the second floor, the game deloads everything below James and above James, and it only loads in the room you are. So because we are not in the basement, there's no collisions. But when we jump off and drop there, the game is like, oh, James is like at the basement now, so it spawns in the basement around you.
Yeah, it's really fortunate that it works like that.
Yeah.
Because I was expecting that like you see that whole like little patio area, it's made out of brick. I was expecting that all to have collision, but
yeah,
fortunately,
me too.
yeah, it's just like a fake roof. Like you can just fall through it. There is a setup that's harder for that, but I'm not crazy enough for it.
It's actually funny because everywhere else it's actually like solid floor, but just that one place with the brakes, like there's nothing there.
They knew. Bluebird knew.
Yeah,
they knew we were going to use that. So Mandarin boss fight, bit of a meme, just a little bit of a meme. We do actually have one more breakout, one minor one.
Oh yeah, one minor. Oh, Intel CPU.
Yeah, you want to talk about it?
Yeah, so we figure out that. Actually not.
Oh, what?
So
jinxed. Oh, I'm just going. Oh my god.
I don't know. I didn't hear him walk. I didn't hear him walk up.
That is actually insane. Okay, wow. So normally, that Mandarin just completely ignores me. It stands there. I've sat there for like minutes, and it just doesn't do anything. That is actually crazy that this time it attacked me. I do have a heal, right? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Healthy James, he's fine.
So I think we think it's based on CPU because every AMD runner that we have has never had like a Mandarin stuck. He always runs to us and like bothers us. But like the couple of the Intel CPU runners keep having this bug where Mandarin just stays still and doesn't move. And that actually removes RNG from the run and makes it faster because like the Mandarin can actually really lose you a lot of time. He can lose you up to like 20 seconds if he just decides to like keep attacking you.
Yeah, that hit as you're breaking the wall can literally kill a run on pace.
Yeah, so if you run this game, be on an Intel processor and 13K.
Yeah, 13. Use the most cursed CPU known to man, the 13th gen. That's what I'm repping. This CPU is crazy.
We're about to hit the time, by the way.
Yeah, we are almost at the end of the run. Time will be as soon as we insert the key into the dog door. And coming up right here. That is time. GG.
Nice run.
GG. Should mention the original dog ending is in Japanese because the developers were in Japanese. Bloober is a Polish team. So the dog ending is actually in Polish, which I thought, gosh, it's pretty cute.
Honestly, that was a really solid run.
Not bad at all. Yeah.
Veg Pravda.
Veg Pravda, man.
Taking in consideration there was only one soft lock.
Yeah.
In the other apartments, usually there's a lot more. Like this is a really reset heavy run, sadly, because there's so many ways to mess up the tech, but it's still a lot of fun. Like it's fun to do the breakouts, it's flashy, it's cool.
Yeah. Yeah, running this has been a real treat in the last few months. Aw, poor James. Too bad. But But yeah, GG's. I want to see. We killed 10 enemies in the whole game. It's almost a pacifist run. Ek, I just want to say thanks so much for having me, man. Thanks for letting me showcase this run. This is the very first time we've had it shown anywhere. I think I'm the first one to do it in a marathon setting.
That you are.
Yeah, and I'm really happy that it went as smooth as it did. That was pretty much as good as it could have gone from how I imagined. But yeah, if you want to check me out, if you want more Silent Hill 2 Remake speedrun content, I also play a lot of RE7, sometimes do Ocarina of Time randomizer stuff. You can check me out on Twitch. I also have a YouTube where I upload all my PBs and highlights and live VODs and stuff. And I'm live almost every day. So yeah.
All right. Well, thank you again for that run. If you did enjoy this run of Silent Hill 2, you can find Nidal's stream in the chat. It should be linked there, and he does a lot of horror stuff. Sometimes it's silly, sometimes it's more serious, like this. The man's done Goosebumps, Silent Hill, Ghostwire Tokyo, and the like. So you can definitely go check him out at that link there. Anyway, thank you all for watching. Hope you all enjoyed this episode of Speedruns from the Crypt. We do this every 2 weeks. I've been your host, Dices. I tend to plan a lot of these out, so hope you did enjoy it. And we'll be back in about 2 weeks with more horror games. Before we do go, there's a few announcements. For one, if you ever want to stay up to date, we do have the GDQ the GDQ Discord with the Hotfix role to stay in the loop on upcoming events, chat with staff, and more. You use !Discord in Twitch chat for more information on that. As well, you can get ready for the Nintendo Switch 2 launch celebration this Thursday, June 5th at 7 p.m. Eastern. Make sure to check out our special broadcast over at twitch.tv/antonline. At 1 p.m. Eastern for the pre-party, and visit antonline.com. Anyway, we'll be back in about 2 weeks. Hope you have a wonderful rest of their night. Before we do go as well, we do have the replay coming up. So if you did miss Crosshair or Speedruns from the Crypt, both shows will be right back after a brief break, and you can tune in for tomorrow's show as well. Anyway, have a wonderful rest of the day or night, and take it easy.